All right. Ow. Need to do audio test. Right, we're already live.
Oh.
Right.
It's a good thing I didn't say what I was going to say then.
What?
I said it's a good thing I didn't say what I was going to say then.
What?
Oh, nothing.
Why does it matter?
No.
Is it something gross?
Huh?
Is
No.
Gross? Okay, why does it matter?
Huh?
Why does it matter?
I don't know, because I'm just not going to say it on live on webcam.
Why?
I don't know.
Private?
No.
So why does it matter?
I don't know, I just dropped the deuce.
So what?
I don't know.
I don't know why.
I feel better.
So you took a shit.
Yeah?
That's a big deal. We have 2 people watching. 3 people watching.
Hooray. 3 people now know I took a shit.
Alright.
Hello, people.
Alright. We gotta do audio test.
Yes, yes, we do.
So, hit, I gotta start talking.
My mic, talking now. Talking now into my mic. Hello, hello. Testing, testing. Holy cow.
The boost down.
Wow.
You got it?
Yeah, turning down. Turned it down. Holy crud, what? Why is everything... That's completely off, boost. Hello, testing, testing,
Hold on,
testing.
it's getting feedback. I don't know if it's feeding back through OBS, but there's feedback coming through. Yeah, unplug the mics. This one.
I was dicking around with this, so it's probably this one.
Why are you dicking around?
Well, alright then.
Part of the live experience, folks.
Yep.
Assuming you can even hear us. I know you can hear us.
Well, I'm gonna open that window a little bit more.
No, I'm cranking open.
Huh?
It's not that cold out.
I am roasting.
We don't need this right now.
As we just blow their eardrums out now.
Alright.
Perfect.
Alright, now they should be able to hear us again.
Don't worry, we were talking bad about you. No.
Do you know this is being streamed over YouTube?
Yes, yes we do. Wait. As in, like, not a Patreon thing?
No, it is. Let's do it. Alright. Audio test, go.
Audio testing. Testing audio.
Stop talking. There's still feedback. It's gotta be... I don't know how... Oh, let me play back our... See how it's sounding on the actual stream.
Wait. As in, like, not a Patreon thing?
I mean, that sounds clean.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
How does it sound to everybody out there?
well, Mark's watching for sure.
Yeah. Mark, how does it sound?
Well, it's gonna sound like nothing for a second. Sure that that's connected properly. Is that unplug it from that connection point? Plug it back.
This?
It's not great, he says.
No, yeah.
If he backs up from the mic, it might be better. No, that... Mark, is it working?
Yeah.
Mark, I know you can hear me. I know it sounds really crazy sound on your side. It shouldn't. That's the point.
Yeah.
It should not be this loud. Ever. Something's not right.
Why are we peeking out in
Or we're peeking out like,
Streamlabs?
we're peeking out like crazy.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be.
Right?
Now talk.
Now talking. Talking now. Hello, hello. Testing, testing.
I could fix that peaking, but that's not the issue.
That's not the peaking that matters?
Well, what matters is this recording.
Right.
Talk now.
Talking now. Testing, testing.
Okay, hold on. I gotta,
Restart
I'll
Audacity, yep.
Restart Audacity. I mean, I don't know why it's having issues. I just made a video.
Right?
I literally just made a video and the audio was fine.
Right?
So why is there issues now?
Because I touched it.
Why did you touch my shit?
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, now it's all fucked up.
Testing.
I didn't even need you to talk. It's all fucked up. Why? What did you even do?
I didn't do anything, actually.
You said you touched it.
I touched this.
You can't touch shit. That's why I don't let my kids in here. You know that. God damn, dude. Any little minor touch of the audio shit fucks it up. Look out. Look out. You go handle that. I'm going to handle back.
I unplugged it, plugged it back in.
Yeah, I get that. You over there. I will try to fix it. We can't ever have a podcast without technical difficulties.
Right? God. Get my fat ass up here.
And I'm fatter than you.
Huh?
I'm fatter than you.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know about that.
I don't know.
I'm fatter
sure
than you.
way more.
Yeah, because you're taller. Are you up in the 250s?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah. And now imagine, I'm at that but shorter than you.
Okay.
That officially makes me fatter.
Okay.
So fuck you.
There's that.
Alright. The thing is, it's not peaking on here.
Yeah.
Turn all the boost off. Okay. Hit the thing. Make sure. Hold on.
Stopper.
Hold on. I'm gonna turn this off here. Let me turn off these extra lines that are on right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes a difference right now. That could be shouldn't because there's nothing plugged in.
Right.
All right. Delete the audio file. Wait, and do it again. Yeah. See, there's still feedback. Hello, testing 1 2. God, why is that so loud? Hey everyone, welcome. That's peaking like a motherfucker. It's a little better on the low end though. Let me see if it's like that on this mic too. Testing. Oh yeah. What the hell? Why is it
really ugly, distorted?
It should not be like that. What is happening? Is it this? I bet you this is it. This.
I did not touch that.
This. Someone fucked with the main mix.
I did not do that.
I mean, technically this is at 0.
Oh, okay.
But that's what happened. Someone messed with the main mix. Oh, I forgot where I had the main mix at before. It wasn't at 0. Because this is how you turn up everyone at once. Mm-hmm. If you can equal out the volumes, and then it still just sounds a little quiet, and you can't like get any higher or lower. You can just edit the whole main mix.
Mm-hmm.
It's something we haven't. I only mess with when we have guests usually. My sons must have messed with it. I don't remember what the default level was though. I don't know if it's at plus 15. Let's try minus 15. Testing one. No. More minus than that. Let's try minus 30. Not at minus nothing. Hey, everyone. I am Nathaniel Rabbids from the Nintendo Prime Podcast. Hey, everyone. I am Nathaniel Rabbids from the Nintendo Prime Podcast. Yeah, that looks normal. All right. I mean, yeah, it's about as good as it's going to get for now. Yeah. All right, that should do it. Well, at least the background noise is down now. Yeah. Now I could probably fix the mics on. God, I literally just recorded. It had to happen between now and then because I wasn't peaking.
Yeah, I know. Which is weird because I didn't.
Maybe our fat asses just bumped the dial.
Maybe. I don't know. God. Because I know I didn't fuck with that. I was just touching the button on the side of the microphone.
All right, well, at least I figured it out.
I didn't really push it. I just touched it. I was like,
I figured it out. All right, so I should be able to turn the volume back up on OBS.
Yeah.
Chatting it again. Let me see how loud it peaks on OBS.
Chatting on here. Hello, testing. Testing, hello.
Because Nate sounds fine at Eric better if he backs his off it. But you know something is up when you argue over who's fatter. Just push the mics back on the table. No, Mark. All right. Before we get
yes.
I'll probably get that.
Oh, yeah. Topics might help.
Drink, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that might help, too. No.
Was Yulia up when you were upstairs?
No.
She's going to be late to work at this point.
Yes.
Literally, she's going to be late to work.
What the hell?
Oh, damn it. And now the camera's off a little bit. I just bumped it. So.
Nice.
Okay.
Why do we only have one?
What?
Why do we only have one page 2? And I'm pretty sure that's. Oh, okay. Never mind. We're good. Okay. Topic list is only one page.
We got to scoot everything over.
Got it. Yes. Yes. My way.
See how it's off.
This way.
Yeah. You should move everything over.
Yes. Nah, sound was turned way up on the mixer. That's what the problem was. So now that we have that figured out.
I woke up at 9:45.
Yeah.
And sprinted out of the house.
Oh, nice. Did she grab her sub?
I hope so. She knew it was in there. So. All right. Now that we're good.
I mean, it's not like I guess I can't stop over there and give it to her.
We'll worry about it. Why, you visited her at work and I never have?
Yeah. No. I said I could stop over there and give it to her. Joking.
She has timer on 1 a.m. Just saying.
Oh,
gosh.
Oh, no.
And obviously I'm joking.
No. Yeah, maybe after we're done, just twist the tie some shit up here.
You think? Do we want to move your chair?
You're going to want to move what?
Move your chair so we can see if we're actually
First off.
down the... Can you actually see the camera thing?
What? I can see the camera. Why do you think I'm adjusting the position of the mics? Now I can't see the camera.
What the hell? Seriously?
Yeah, I could see the camera. It's right here on the right screen.
I can't.
Wait, you need to look at yourself that bad? You just gotta make sure your soda's like not up here where yours was, because it looks fucking huge. Gotta keep it back. All right. So let me explain to Mark something. When Mark earlier was like, "No, what you guys need to do is you need to back the mics off." Here's the deal, Mark. let me tell you. So hold on.
You have
we
to
can
swallow
actually
these.
We can crank the main volume up a little bit. I'm looking at it. Crank it up to 25. Testing 1 2. Okay, yeah, that looks better.
Yeah.
So.
Oh. Nice.
So we can here's the deal, Mark. These mics you're supposed to talk into.
Yeah, you have to basically swallow these mics.
Not further out. Now you can make it so you can make it go further out, but then you get an echo. And if it's that far out, that also means it's picking up background noise everywhere. These mics actually cancel out the background noise. The issue had nothing to do with the mics themselves. It had to do with the mixer. I knew it had to do with the mixer. It just took us forever to figure out which part of the mixer was screwed up. And it turns out we somehow bumped the main mix and cranked that up to the extreme.
Oh, we could probably bump it up a little bit more and actually use
No,
our boost, but
we don't need to worry about
good
that
right now.
Anyways, so that's what happened, Mark. There's nothing wrong with it. And Edward Norton, who I think is watching. So, yeah, that's what happened. No big deal. We have the audio fixed. Let's get into the podcast. Here we go. So let me do our usual. For those who have never watched a podcast live, like Mark hasn't, this is literally raw, unedited stuff you're seeing. None of this makes it into the final cut.
Yep.
This is just the benefit you get of being a $10 backer and up. You get to see all the raw crap.
You get to see us fighting about who's fatter.
Yeah, exactly. You get to see all the dirty little secrets we don't talk about. All the audio issues we have that don't pop up in the final recording.
Yeah, right.
Now you see how it's a pain in the butt. Every single week there's something. Anyways.
All right.
Let's get this shindig going. Hey everyone, welcome to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 54.
54.
So for starters, before we dive too deep into this, HMK was supposed to be with us this week.
Yep.
Canceled last minute. Tried to find some replacements. No one came through. It is what it is. But Eric's here, as always.
Yep.
And
well, I wasn't going to be last week, but...
Well, here's the deal.
Yeah.
We didn't have a podcast last week. No one's really at fault for it. If anyone's at fault, it's me. Eric wasn't feeling well. But that's besides the point, because I always said come hell or high water there would be a podcast because we hit our $100 Patreon goal. Mm-hmm. Well, the deal is that it wasn't just that Eric, I kind of knew the morning of the podcast he might not be coming. And he let me know for sure around like 4 o'clock or something. But whatever. That's neither here nor there. The reality is I never tried to even attempt to schedule guests. I didn't even have podcast topics picked out yet. My fiance had the flu, and I've been like a 24/7 dad for like 2 weeks now. And I love being a dad, but it also means I have very little time to get things right here at Nintendo Prime. And admittedly, if Eric would have sucked it up and came over, we would have somehow pulled together a podcast. Mm-hmm. But it would have been low quality. And I think at this point we've kind of upped our game enough.
Yeah.
To the point that I'm not willing to produce a low quality product just to get a product out.
Right.
I wanna produce something that I'm proud of. Then some of you guys might remind me that arguing with myself wasn't the greatest product in the world at launch, but that's just because I admittedly didn't want to have to re-record stuff. Mm-hmm. So now that it's out, I know how to edit it. It'll be easier next time. And we'll see
here and there.
We'll see when a new one's coming. Now, what is also cool is even though we don't have a guest for this week, like I was hoping to come back with, next week Darren is supposedly coming back. He told me he's coming back. He said next week his recording area. He's acting like he has a recording studio. It's his grandma's house. Acts like he's got a big deal and he's coming back. Whatever. Darren will be back. So for those that have missed him the past month, no worries. I mean, be worried because he's done this before and then not showed up. So hopefully he's back and back for good. And just because I don't trust him, we're gonna have other guests scheduled.
Yeah.
I next week what's gonna end up happening is I'm gonna be planning for 2 special guests. So then if one cancels, we still have another one. Mm-hmm. Right now I'm trying to get Player Essence to come on, and there's a couple of YouTubers I was talking to, but it is what it is. Or maybe some of our Patreon backers will sign up, because if you didn't know, if you're a $20 Patreon backer or more, you can come on the podcast. You get invited every single month. I already put up the podcast invite post for this month. Mm-hmm. So if you are a $20 backer and you haven't signed up yet for this month, go to that post on patreon.com/Nintendo Prime. And if you want to become one, you can do it as well. And the dates are all listed there. We record around 9 p.m. It was a little later today. 1, because we were hoping HMK would get home in time, and he wasn't. And 2, because we obviously had the audio issues.
Right.
But whatever. Let's get into the podcast. Oh, I guess we mentioned Patreon. What other tiers are there for podcasts?
Oh, good God.
Well, what's our number one podcast tier?
Probably the $5.
$5 foot long.
Oh, God, yeah. Right.
$5 Patreon tier is actually our most popular tier because you get the full audio podcast a day early than the public. Now, that's technically not the earliest you can get this podcast, because we now, from the $10 tier and up, we live stream our podcast as we're recording it. And it's literally raw, uncut. You see a green screen. You see all the flubs and the mistakes and the audio issues that crop up and everything before and after. Well, not really so much after, but yeah, it's kind of a hot mess that you see that ends up being an amazing final product, and you can thank our lovely editor, Martin, for that.
Yes.
Yes, I found a way to finally mention him.
Hey, there we go.
Again. anyways, let's get into our actual topics for this week.
Yes.
And the first one, well, you know what? Why don't you go through the topic rundown?
Topic rundown. Topic 1. What is our earliest gaming memories? All right, that should be an interesting one.
Yep.
Topic 2. Should we be worried about Nintendo's lineup for Switch in 2018? Number 3. What are our feelings on rumors in general? And topic 4. Oh gosh. Nintendo is apparently going to wait a long time for Switch revisions.
Yep. So we have a lot of great stuff to talk about this week. Let's just get right into it. Topic 1. What's our earliest gaming memories? I've talked briefly about this in a live stream before. I don't ever think I made a real video about it. And this topic was actually inspired from a live stream Q&A, I believe it or not,
nice.
last week, where we kind of got to talking about Pokemon and talking about early gaming memories. And I'm like, you know what? This would make a really good topic to bring up on a podcast. So I'm going to shoot it over to you first. What's like the earliest game you remember playing?
Oh gosh. I know probably Mario, just regular Super Mario.
Super Mario Bros.
Yeah.
On NES.
Yeah,
Okay.
with watching either my uncle or my brothers playing Punch Out or stuff like that.
What was the first game you played?
game I played? Was probably Mario.
Probably
After
Mario.
watching people play, it was more likely Mario or Duck Hunt. Because you got to get them in the same
Sure.
cartridge. So
Sure.
why not?
And I talked about mine before, but obviously this is just us this time. So my earliest was Mike Tyson's Punch Out. My dad played it a lot when he, the few times I saw him because he was working 80-hour weeks. It's kind of how he wound down if he wasn't having the old booze. He'd wind down with some Punch Out at night, and that was also the first game I played because when he'd go to the bathroom, I would pick up the controller and get mad at me because I died to Mike Tyson and wasted all his lives.
Right.
He got really mad about that. But it is what it is. That was the very first game I ever played. Still love it to this day.
Oh yeah. It's good
Punch Out and Mike Tyson's Punch
Yep.
Out. Love them both. I know they brought Punch Out back, I think, during the Wii era and stuff like that. And it's okay.
It's actually not.
I mean,
bad.
it's okay. I still like the NES version better,
Right,
but
right.
I know there's some nostalgia
Yeah,
glasses
right,
there.
right, yeah.
I'm well aware of that.
Yeah.
I actually think the newer version's probably better, but it's just hard for me because it is the first game I ever played.
It's a little bit less stereotypical. The new one is.
What are some what other what are some fond memories you have from your very early
God.
days of these are the days that made us gamers.
Right. No, for sure. I remember, just whether it be your house or other friends' houses, just going over and kicking back, and whether we're playing like Braveheart or
Braveheart
or
PC Braveheart.
Yep. Or Age of Empires, or you kick out NES, which we were playing. Gosh, I don't even remember what the heck we used to play on NES.
I didn't play a lot of NES with you.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're right.
Because
There's more SNES, wasn't it?
we was the N64 era when we
Right.
realized we lived across the street from each other.
Right. Okay.
So you and me
I
personally,
know
we
did
played
some
some
SNES.
NES, we
Yeah.
played some SNES, but
It was
it was mostly N64 and up because
Mario Kart and,
the SNES was more so we both had one, so we just went back and played like Secret of Mana.
I never had one.
Or
but
I had
yeah,
one. Yeah, we
yeah,
played
you
Secret
had
of
one,
Mana or Home Alone.
Yep.
Trying
to remember.
Lion
Castlevania.
King, Castlevania. But that wasn't when we
Right.
really. I mean, we played some of those games together, but a lot of the games I owned on SNES were single player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was a sign of the time of the era because there was only 2 controller ports.
Right.
But I played a lot of single player games, and on NES we did go back because you had an NES.
Mm-hmm.
And we did go back sometimes to play some Balloon Trip and stuff like that. But
Balloon Fight.
I remember going back and playing a lot of Battletoads with you.
Oh yeah.
Lots of That game was so hard.
Yes.
But my earliest gaming memory with you, just thinking back, was the day we realized we lived across the street from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Was my birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
I had you over for a birthday party. I don't remember if it was my 8th or 9th birthday, something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a little more. I can't remember when I moved into that house. It might have been when I was 10. I'd have to go back and ask my parents, what year did we move into that house over there? Because they built the new house at the time. But it had been a couple years, and I finally had a birthday party there. And one of the main things we played at the birthday party was track and field. Putting the pencil between the thing, going back and forth, and using the running mat. And at the time, we didn't know that you lived where you did. We sent out invites through the daycare.
Yeah.
And obviously with some of my friends at school, and you showed up, and you're like, dude, I didn't realize you lived right behind me.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah,
what?
I live right over here. And then after that, from that point on, we basically hung out almost every single
Right.
day
No,
that
for
we
sure.
humanly could if we were
right.
home.
Yeah.
But like that was my earliest like I actually playing. Like I remember we went to a monkey business.
Yep.
Which was a daycare. That was like the last daycare we went to together.
Oh, we did.
Did we do
Y
the
for a
Y
little
for a
while.
little?
Yep.
Yeah, because
For
I
a
was only
while.
at the Y for 2 years.
Right. Yep.
So
I think it was that one or two
one
years
of
out
the
there,
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I never got to go on any of the fun trips.
Neither did I. So.
But
Noah's
because they
Ark,
used to do
yeah.
like fun like Noah's
Noah's
Ark,
Ark,
like they don't even do that anymore. But they,
No.
I'm surprised they did it back then, to be honest.
You're right.
But-
Well, back then was a lot different world than what today is too. So
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
That's still not hard to go on a bus and go to Noah's Ark. Come on.
liability.
I don't know if I'd want to go on a bus to Noah's Ark at that thing though, because like you're only really there for like an hour or two, and then you
Right,
gotta come all the way
right.
back.
Yeah,
It's not even
right,
worth
yeah.
the trip.
No.
You spend 7 hours in the car for 1 hour of play. Yeah,
And then you get to stand in line for an hour and maybe get to go on one ride.
Well, it's in the middle of the week. You get to go on
Right,
a little
yeah,
more
I
than one.
suppose.
But yeah. So yeah, my earliest gaming memories, I guess, with you even predate that. I remember playing your Game Gear.
Oh yeah. I love Game Gear.
You were the one that introduced me to Game Gear. Actually,
Yeah.
I had no idea what a Game Gear was. I had a Game Boy. I was a Game Boy kid.
Yep.
And you played my Game Boy too.
Yeah.
But I remember your Game Gear playing Sonic. Lots of Sonic.
Yep.
I don't remember which Sonic game it was, but it was a lot of Sonic.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I think there was one. Did you have the
I had-
Aladdin game on there?
No, I had.
I know. I had that. I had it on Game Boy.
Right.
Um,
I had a Bugs Bunny game.
Yep.
And
Remember
I
that.
also had MLB 95.
Yeah.
World
I
Series 95.
I didn't play much of that on yours.
Oh, that's a fun game.
I remember
else did
Sonic. I played so
Yeah.
much Sonic. We killed the batteries on that thing every day.
Oh, I know. Well, that thing didn't take much to kill batteries.
No,
I went
no.
through 6 AA batteries.
Yeah, no, yeah, it really did not take much. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's probably my earliest memories with you.
Right.
So my earliest was Punch Out,
Mhm.
and then I progressed from Punch Out to it wasn't even Duck Hunt. I think to Track and Field,
Mhm.
and I think Track and Field at the time was no, it wasn't combined yet. That was combined with Mario or Duck Hunt, one of the two. But I didn't really play a lot of Duck
Yeah.
Hunt. I was more into Hogan's Alley.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hogan's Alley was the bomb with the light gun.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, when I finally got a Game Boy, obviously Pokemon became like a big deal eventually, but that wasn't right away because
Right.
Game Boy was out for quite a while before Pokemon came out. It was Super Mario Land. Played a ton of Super Mario Land. I know a lot of people think, oh, it's not a good Mario game. To me, it was the greatest Mario game of all time. I'm playing Mario on the go.
Right.
I even played that before I played Mario on NES.
Yeah.
Like, and then I realized, oh, there's Mario on NES, and then I did eventually realize, oh, Mario on NES is a little better. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I was still impressed with Land that I have that thing on the go, and then just a lot of that. I mean, that's basically how I became a Nintendo gamer. My dad had an NES, and that's just kind of led to me being a Nintendo gamer.
Right.
Now, my dad did eventually get like a Sega Genesis and stuff like that, and I played games on that, and I didn't hate it. Like, it wasn't like I wasn't, even though the big war back then was
Yeah,
Sega
right,
versus
yeah.
Nintendo, I like didn't care. I used to play tons of
Yeah, oh, no,
Rampart.
for sure, yeah.
Rampart was a big one. I used to play on the Genesis a lot. But what was really interesting to me is, even though for all the NES, SNES, and N64 I played, I probably was a bigger PC gamer than anything else. The moment my dad tricked me into building my own PC for my birthday, greatest trick ever. I hope I do it on my kids, and they be like, Ollie's really interested in building things and how things work.
Yeah.
I could see on one of his birthdays when he's like 7, like hey, I need you to help me build like this new computer for work,
Yeah.
and then just surprising him, like, oh my god, I got my own computer.
Yeah, right.
Yulia's gonna kill me.
Right.
But and plus I'm like
Well,
such
it doesn't
a,
need to be top of the line.
I'm such a tech geek. It might not be top of the line, but it's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nice. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure he's got that 1080p,
We're
100
gonna
FPS.
also go out and find some Braveheart
No, no.
to give to him.
No, he won't even.
Oh.
No, those games. The kids don't have the patience for the frustration of the bugs in those games anymore. I think that game could have been so like.
Yeah.
I thought it was amazing, but like as time went on, I'm like, yeah, it was pretty buggy. Like, if they would have just patched the
Yeah,
bugs, that game would
right.
have been so good.
Lords of the Realm.
Lords of the Realm 2.
too.
was the best.
Yeah.
It was the best. But
Still have to get that working.
But that's the thing,
PC
like,
right
I
now.
built that PC, and then I was getting really big into Age of Empires.
Yep.
I got big into Madden.
Archer's Blood.
That's when I always liked the NFL games, but I was
Yeah.
more quarterback club on
Right.
console
Oh, for
than
sure.
Madden.
Yep.
But my dad played Madden on PC a lot, and that
Mhm.
got me into playing Madden so I could play against my dad.
Mhm.
And it was always kind of cool because my dad would be in his office, and I would be on the other side playing, and he would just get swearing at me, and I'm
Yeah.
like, Dad, I'm only like 10,
Yeah, right.
and I just scored on you. Suck it.
I'm like right across the hall from you.
And then from there, I just I loved PC games. You know, Age of Empires 1, 2, 3, and then there was, oh man, what else? There were so many games back then. Majesty, you and I played a lot of
yeah.
Majesty together.
Love Majesty.
Obviously Zoo Tycoon. You had that, I
Yep,
didn't, but I
yep.
played it a lot at your house. And it was funny too because like I always had the better computer than you because you guys always had the family computer.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
your parents just refused to ever upgrade.
Yeah. Well,
And-
we tried, but I'm pretty sure that one of our local shops ripped us off.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I remember like you upgrading and getting it fixed, and I'm like, how much is like this place charging you? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm not a professional, but I could have
Yeah.
did it for like
Yeah,
nothing.
no, I know.
You could just
Yeah.
bought the parts off eBay.
Yeah, no, I
Anyways,
know.
whatever. It was. This is the early
This
ages
was-
of PCs.
Yeah.
Like when I mean even today a lot of PC shops will massively overcharge you.
Oh,
To
yeah.
give you an example, see if I don't know what's going to show up on camera. My phone is actually got a crack down in that bottom left corner. It is a legit crack. There's no screen on here right now, and it's actually kind of a shatter. So it's not good. I need to replace the screen. Now I can use my insurance on my phone. $150 or whatever, $200, get a brand new phone. But the thing is like, I'm like, well, why spend $200? Why not just get the screen fixed? Well, when you go look at what people are charging for screen fixes,
That's $100 to $200 there.
$250.
Yeah.
$250 to get the screen fixed
Yeah.
on my phone, and I'm like, well, that's
So
stupid.
You're telling me I can get a new phone for the same price? As
Yeah,
getting my
no.
screen
Yeah, that's because of the insurance I have. But that's fine. It's $1,000 phone, so like, well, this one's I guess is $900. Sorry, the new Samsung this year is going to be the $1,000 Samsung. But no, what's interesting about it, and I know this because I learned this younger when I used to work at Geek Squad and stuff. Like we overcharge compared to what it actually costs to get the parts. I can go online
Well-
and buy a $40 screen repair kit. Gives you a brand new Samsung Galaxy S8 screen, plus all the tools to take apart your thing and just install the screen yourself. Now, the reason that people don't go that way is they don't trust themselves taking apart electronics. And I understand that. It can be scary if you don't know what you're
for
doing.
sure.
You could really screw things up. But, dude, I take apart computer crap all the time.
Right.
So you're telling me $200 for a brand new one, or I can just pay $40, fix it myself, and then still pay it off and sell it like it's new.
Yeah.
So, of course, that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, yeah. For
Like,
sure.
it's going to be on order this month so I can fix it up. I mean, I'll probably won't fix it right away because it's in that corner, so I don't use it a lot. But as soon as it starts to spread a bit more, I'm like, all right, let's just
Yeah.
replace it. Because it's just not, like, the insurance policy is nice if I lose my phone. Like, cracked screen, as long as it's not the actual display behind it, it's just the glass in front, that's nothing.
Right.
And that's what it is, just the glass in front. So, yeah, like, those are my earliest game memories. And, I don't know what it was. Like, I got big into PC, but I somehow never really abandoned Nintendo.
Right.
I invested a lot of money in PC games, and I can tell you one reason, and this is kind of a credit to the digital revolution that's now been happening over the past 10 years, is you couldn't really resell PC games very much. Now,
Right.
some you could in the early 90s.
Right.
You were able to go resell your keys and sell at the game shops. But as we got into the 2000s, they weren't accepting that anymore. You couldn't resell PC games.
Right.
Because the keys were locked to your computer and couldn't be reused.
Right.
So because of that, I kind of became a huge PC gamer compared to Nintendo because I was a kid and always wanted money, so I always sold my games.
Yeah. Right.
Because they give me money, but you can't sell your PC games. So I went and sold 7 N64 games today. But I still have all 50 of my PC games, so I guess I'm playing games on PC.
You're right.
And that's what, even now with my Switch, like I've sold a few physical Switch games, but I still have like 20 plus games on my Switch to play because I have so many digital games. So like I actually like that about digital for my purposes. 'Cause I always have that mentality: if I need a quick buck right now, easiest thing I have to sell is my games. You know, yeah, there's pawn shop. I'm sure I can pawn some stuff in my house,
Yeah.
and you could literally pawn stuff like just borrow. That's what pawning technically is. You are giving them something to borrow money until you can pay it back plus like X amount of interest or whatever it is. Usually it's really cheap too. It's like 1% interest, and if you never pay it back, they just keep the item. So I mean, I've just never done that. I've never actually pawned something. I've always just traded in for cash, and I've always been afraid to pawn. It's like, what's the chance I'm going to remember to go back and just buy my thing back? You know.
Right.
So I've always been, just sell the games, and I can always buy the games back later if I need. Because one nice thing about most games, not Nintendo games, most games is that they get cheaper over time.
Right.
So let's say I bought, like Payday 2, bought that the other day for $50.
Yeah.
Apparently day one you could have bought it on Amazon Prime for $27 on Switch. Okay, that scares me. That means if I go sell my Payday 2 copy right now back to GameStop, I check the value on it. I could get $33 cash. And I guarantee you 2 months from now I can rebuy the game for under $20.
Right.
So it's like, that's why I never felt so bad about selling physical copies of games over the years, because you could always, if you sell it at the right time, get the game back for cheaper than what you got paid. So basically, you kind of make a little bit.
And
of
it also
profit.
depends. And it also depends on the game.
Yeah. No, Nintendo games are obviously different.
Right.
If I sell Odyssey, I'm not gonna ever see it for under $20.
Right.
It might hit $20, like 7 years from now.
Right.
But
yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like your Turtles in Time game where
what was here. So we talked a lot about like that. That's our really early years of gaming, and then World of Warcraft came out, and then I got. Pokemon and all that stuff as well. We played a lot of Pokemon, a lot of trading. I remember using the link cables all the time. Crystal Chronicles, that was really fun on GameCube.
God, yes.
Despite the link cable situation, man, it was fun.
Right.
But what I want to know is there like one game you think back to that made you hooked on gaming? Like, what was the game that's like, man, now I'm going to play games all the time? God. I know what it is for my son.
Yeah.
I mean, what got my son hooked on tablet gaming was Angry Birds.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That was the game.
Angry Birds,
but what's got him actually really into console gaming right now is Mario Odyssey, of all things.
Yeah.
He freaking loves. He'd rather play Mario Odyssey than Angry Birds any day of the week.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean,
hey, I'm proud of you, son. You'd rather
sense.
play Mario than the Angry Birds. But it's one of those things where it's amazing to me that like Mario Odyssey is what got him. He's seen me play a lot of games. Granted, I don't try to let him watch me play the stuff he's not old enough to see.
Right.
I think he can watch me play Breath of the Wild even though he's not old enough. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's
but like
not a whole lot of...
Payday 2, he's not going to watch me play.
Oh yeah, no.
So I'm not going to let him get hooked by one of those games. But I could tell Odyssey is the game that made him want a 2DS. And oddly enough, he only owns Zelda on the 2DS. But goddamn, will he play that game for like 17 hours and not even be able to get out of Kokiri Forest?
All right, well, why not?
But it's Mario that made him want it. So he's that's what got him hooked. My daughter is, I wouldn't say she's hooked yet.
Yeah.
She likes, she's more into, she's a girl, I guess. I don't know if this has to do anything with the girl. She likes like watching YouTube videos and stuff more than playing games.
I don't know.
But she does like Mario Kart, like hardcore Mario Kart.
And that's probably what got me hooked was Mario Kart 64.
Was it Mario Kart 64?
Mario Kart 64, yep.
Okay.
Mario Kart 64, Mario 64, and Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Okay.
The combination of those three are what really pulled me into gaming.
So,
sorry, let me rephrase that. Pokemon.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Right.
Like, for me, I played a bunch of games, but it really wasn't one of those things where I felt like I needed to play. I don't know if you want to call it, I wasn't addicted or something. I don't know, but I would rather play outside. I would rather do like a zillion other things.
Right.
And then Pokemon came along, and I bought I bought Fire Red day one. Or it wasn't Fire Red, just Red. The re-release was Fire Red.
Yeah.
And then I got Blue like a month later. And then I can't remember when Yellow came out. I think it was a year later or something. Then I got Yellow.
Something like that, yeah.
Because I was always excited about Yellow because, Pikachu follows me around just like in the anime.
Right, exactly.
But Pokemon, and this is why I always say that Pokemon's got a special place in my heart and why I am going to, even if I haven't liked some of the things they've done to Pokemon over the years, why I'm going to try to get Pokemon on Switch as fair a chance as I can.
Right.
And I'm going to sink dozens of hours in at least.
Right.
Because Pokemon is really what got me to become more than I would just say a casual gamer, just someone who played the games his dad had when he could. Otherwise, I was playing with friends and playing sports and going to daycare
Right.
and doing all this
Exactly.
stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a Game Boy, but I really wasn't playing it all the time unless it was a car trip. And even then, most of the time, I would listen to a portable CD player,
Right.
rather than game. But then Pokemon came along, and it just like opened my mind. I can't really explain how. It was my first big RPG, and like I played Link's Awakening before it. I played Secret of Mana and stuff like this, but I really wasn't deep into those games until Pokemon hit, and it made me go back and realize, wait a second.
Yeah. Right.
What have I been missing out on these other games
Right.
that I've just watched my dad play and I've only played a little bit? And that's why Pokemon, like the Gen 1, is such a special place. It's not
for sure.
It's not just nostalgia, because obviously nostalgia plays a big role in a lot of looking back at games.
Right. No, for sure.
But it's that Pokemon like I'm doing Nintendo Prime today because of Pokemon. I created Zelda Domain. I would have never got into Ocarina of Time if it wasn't for Pokemon. It's crazy to me just thinking back how much Pokemon has actually led to a massive impact on my life, where I'm going to be 32 this year and I'm covering video games for a living.
Right.
Because of that game. And yes, I did play Generation 2. Of course, I love Generation 1, so why wouldn't I buy Generation 2? And then it was after Generation 2 I started to fall off. And I've talked about before, explaining why that might be, and we'll have a Pokemon discussion for another day because Martin really wants to come in and talk about some Pokemon. So we'll have a discussion about how we fell out of Pokemon, why we really want to get back into it, and Martin will probably lambaste us over all the changes that have happened every generation, because he's like one of the biggest Pokemon fans I know.
Hey, good for him though.
But it's just interesting, that Pokemon, out of all the games I played and all the games I tried, something about Pokemon, it not just got me hooked to Pokemon, it got me hooked to gaming.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And I don't know what about it made me want to even play other games. Usually when you get hooked on something, you just want to keep playing that something.
Yeah.
But this actually made me want to play more games. I don't know why.
I think, again, with me, though, I think it was a combination of... I think when I got my Pokemon and stuff like that is when I got right around the same time as I got my 64. So it was kind of a combination of, Mario Kart 64. That kind of got me hooked into the console gaming.
Sure.
And then I had the Game Boy Color.
Yeah, because Pokemon came out,
Yep.
Red and Blue came out in 96.
Yep.
Same year as N64.
Yep.
So
I think I had my Pokemon slightly before we got our 64. And I remember one Christmas we ended up going out to Blockbuster and renting a 64. And we had Mario Kart, and my whole family just sat down and played. That was probably one of my all-time favorite memories of gaming, because we had so much fun just destroying each other and yelling and screaming and laughing. And
here's what sucks. I tried to relive that with my kids.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really, my mom not so much, but my dad played Mario Kart with us on the N64. And I'm like, oh man, my kids, they want to play Mario Kart. Like, let's Yulia, me, and the kids play Mario Kart together. And here's the thing about today's Mario Kart, or at least the thing about today, that it might have been different back then, maybe because Mario Kart was a little bit newer, even though it was also on SNES. I'm just too good at Mario Kart. And I can't try to be bad. I try.
yeah.
So, here's the thing. My kids struggle at anything past 50cc. They don't really want to play past that.
Right.
So they're playing 50cc. I'm on 50cc. I'm lapping the whole field halfway through the second lap. And it's like, this isn't really fun. Yeah. So, I'm enjoying watching my kids have a good time, but I'm just sitting there I might as well not even be playing.
Right.
And I'm not trying to have, this elitist attitude, but it's just when I was a kid and my dad played, my dad wasn't that good.
Right. I think it was, again, probably because gaming was a newer thing.
Not newer. That kind of gaming was.
Yes.
The kind of party kart gaming.
Right.
Kind of party gaming in general.
Right.
Outside of arcades was kind of a newer thing.
It's not something that, we didn't grow up watching.
Yeah.
Well,
and the thing is, this is what? This is Mario Kart 8. 8th Mario Kart I played.
Right, exactly.
It's
yep.
My kids first.
Right.
So they'll get up to probably even being better than me someday.
Right.
But it's just one of those things that now it sucked, because my first memory with them, I wanted it to be like it was in my childhood. I'm
you have to find.
I need to find a game that I don't play.
You haven't really played, yeah, right.
But the game it is Angry Birds, And yeah, my son's better at Angry Birds than I am.
Yeah.
He's admittedly better than me.
Yeah.
And I enjoy Angry Birds. I actually don't think, like, I know some people scoff at mobile games. I don't have an issue with mobile games. I enjoy a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the thing is, like, Angry Birds isn't a game you really play together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You just take turns.
Right.
So, I don't know. I'm glad you had that memory. Like, that's awesome. I have a very similar memory, except it was just me and my dad. My sister was too young to play.
Yep.
But, yeah, it was great. It was great.
And then that year we ended up getting a 64 for Christmas. I think it was a trial run to see how it worked.
We got let me see. I got Pokemon the day it launched. I don't remember why, because I didn't see any commercials for it. My dad or my mom might have saw some, and I had a Game Boy. I only had like 2 games, and I think they asked me, hey, there's a game called Pokemon coming out from Nintendo. Do you want it? And I'm like, of course I want a new game. I'm a kid. I want new everything.
Yeah, right.
And so they got it for me day one, and then been hooked ever since.
Yeah.
But
see, I never had an OG Game Boy.
I didn't get an N64 until Christmas '97. Then we got the family N64.
Right.
They didn't buy it the first year, too expensive. Second year was a little bit cheaper, and I think they got it packaged with Mario 64 and like 2 other games. I can't remember what they were. Like Mario 64 was the only launch game that mattered.
Yeah.
Because I think there was like one other game, like Pilot Wings or something that came out. But you didn't buy an N64 launch if it wasn't for Mario 64. So I got Mario 64, and I forget what the other game was. And then obviously that following year, Ocarina of Time came out, and then like the rest is basically history. Because Zelda just... I played Zelda before. Ocarina of Time is not my first Zelda game. But Ocarina of Time, as much as I rank Ocarina of Time so low on my favorite Zelda list, it's still one of those things that it was still a pivotal game for me, because while Pokemon got me to love gaming, Zelda Ocarina of Time made me want to do more. It made me, like, look what we're doing now, right? We're having this look back on our early gaming experiences, and we're just talking about games. We sit down here every single week just to talk about video games. Zelda is what made me want to have conversations about video games, not just play them. Let's talk about it.
Right.
And somehow talking about it can be almost as fun, if not more fun, than playing it.
Yeah, and what's really weird with us, too, especially, because you and I can just sit down and talk about whatever for hours on end. I mean, after Roller Chair Ball, how many nights did we come back to your place and
strategize?
Just sit down and talk.
It was just... I mean, and that's always been the way it is with us. But it's like, even me, like I had a computer at a time, and did some stuff like Zelda made me want to go on gaming forums and start talking to other people. It made me want to start up. Like I enjoyed it so much. Well, it's not that I enjoyed that game so much, but I enjoyed it enough that I went back and started playing the other Zelda games I had, which was A Link to the Past and Link's Awakening, and realized how much I love them, and then got into Zelda 2 and Legend of Zelda and stuff. And that's like, oh man, I love Zelda. You know what? There's this thing called GeoCities. Let me try making a website. And that got me into a whole new field of stuff. But it's just... gaming's changed my life.
Yep.
I mean, it has changed my life. It's done a lot of things for me in terms of self-esteem, being there for me during dark times. Not that you weren't there for me and I didn't have family and friends. Yeah. But like, there's that something about, no matter how many people are there for you, you're still always battling with yourself.
Oh, for sure.
When you're going through stuff, someone could talk to you, they can hug you, they can do whatever, but like, no, they're not inside your head. You're inside your head.
It might fix it for the moment.
Yeah, it might make you feel better for a little bit, but like gaming, like big thing for me when I was younger is gaming was a huge escape. Like the reason I had so many single player games, just escape from the goddamn world. Like I was always out and about doing so many things as a kid, and then also having the issues I have with my dad, and then just everything in general. It was just so nuts. Like I think that's probably what happened. Like Pokemon got me like hooked on gaming, and Zelda took me out of the real world and into this virtual world, and gave me that escape. And that's what's so great about like these earliest gaming memories, because I don't really get these kind of feelings so much anymore. Right. Like I don't feel escapism anymore when I play games, and it might just be because I don't have as vivid an imagination as when I was a kid. Right. Like I used to be able to pretend I was like a Ninja Turtle fighting against
for sure.
Fighting against Darth Vader and stuff like that, and the Foot Clan, and when there's snow mounds outside, I'm running out there pretending I'm in the battle on Hoth, and it was. I had a vivid imagination, so that also helps with escapism. Is that I have that imagination, But also when I'm older, it's one of those things that I don't feel like I should be escaping to games.
Right. Well, and it also
I have too much responsibility.
I was going to say, it also doesn't help that you have little kids going, Dad, 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 Dad. You can't really escape from that.
Yeah. That's not going to say that I don't have moments when I just forget about the world around me. But that almost happens when I watch movies more so than games.
Right.
And it's not because gaming's gotten worse. Gaming's more immersive. I mean, until they ask me to spend money. Hey, can you buy this? I'm like, okay, what?
Yeah, right.
What? I just want to get into the next match. I just want to get to the next level.
Yeah, right.
Why you ask me to buy this hat? I don't care.
Yeah, right.
But that's a story for another day. I guess we can move on to the next. You know what? You got something you want to say before we move on?
One other thing. We cannot mention gaming memories without mentioning your pizza ovens.
I mean,
I know.
They're most useful because of gaming. But
right.
Yeah, which one?
There's
one? Two of them.
I know. The ones where either way, we would sit and have to,
we'd lose track of time. We'd lose track of time, so we would forget it in the pizza oven, so it would be pitch black.
Yep.
We'd still eat it, of course. Who cares? I'd still eat it today if I did that.
Yeah.
And then there was the one pizza oven that we knew halfway through you needed to rotate the pizza because there was a hotter zone.
Yep.
And I mean, maybe 1 out of 15 pizzas we make, we remember to do that.
Yeah, right.
And then we'd argue over who's going to eat the burnt half. And then we're like, well, we could just split it between. It's like, no.
No, you will eat the burnt
Did
half.
you bring the pizza over, or is this my pizza?
Yeah, right.
And then we got a pizzazz. Our mind was blown.
Yeah, right.
At your parents' house, I think it was.
No.
Or was it my
No,
parents?
it's yours,
Is it
yeah.
my parents? Yeah. The
We didn't
pizzazz
have
didn't
pizzazz,
last
yeah.
very long. We broke it. But
Yeah.
the other pizza ovens are still alive and kicking.
Nice.
They're still alive and kicking.
Does
They're
it still have the hot zone?
Yes, they're pieces of junk. No one uses them anymore. I told my parents they should give them to me, but
Right.
I don't know. They might be a fire hazard, to be honest.
Yeah.
At this point, pizza ovens from the 90s.
All right, now we can move on.
Now we can move on to the next topic.
Sorry, I had to bring up the pizza ovens.
It's all right. So
I'm guessing. Hold on. I'm guessing you were going to ask them to share their gaming
yeah.
memories?
Well, I was gonna say, like, what's the earliest you guys got into gaming? What's like your first game you remember? And then like, what game got you guys hooked on gaming? Or if you're not hooked on gaming, like, why? If you're not hooked on gaming and you're watching this channel still and you're watching this podcast,
Why?
Then no. Like, what keeps you playing games even though you don't consider yourself hooked? Like, you don't feel like you have to play games, but there's still like when you have a spare moment for like a half hour a week, maybe you sneak a game in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what makes you want to do that? Just let us know down in the comments below. Moving on, or if like you're listening to the audio version, I guess there's no comments on that. So email us at nathan@tenderprime.net and let me know your feelings on that. Maybe we'll mention your comment in the next podcast. You know what you can also do with an email? You can submit fan topics. We actually haven't had fan topics in a while.
Yeah.
So
Well, I guess we keep forgetting to promote that.
well, a lot of times we have a lot of good topics, so
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
true.
a huge deal. And this week we happen to have some great ones. But yeah, if you guys have any fan topics you'd like to submit, you can do that at nathan@nathanprime.net as well. Just make sure the subject line is podcast fan topics. Very specific, so it doesn't get mixed in with my other emails. You could also leave fan topics in the comments on our YouTube video version of this. I don't always get to them, but I do tend to, at least for now, read every single comment on YouTube. I'm telling you right now, if we keep getting bigger and bigger, that's not going to be the case because it's going to be impossible to read them all. But that's why I highly suggest the email with that specific topic. I will read it, even if I get 1,000 of them. I will read it. Can't guarantee your topic will be chosen, but I will read it. Moving on now. Our second topic is, should we be worried about Nintendo's lineup for Switch in 2018? Can you think of even one game you want on Switch right now this year that's coming out this year?
Payday 2.
It's already out.
I know, but you said coming out this year.
Okay, coming,
Okay.
not past.
Okay, well,
I know you want it,
yes.
but it's a 5-year-old game.
Yes, I know. I don't care. I still want it.
Okay. I mean, it's fine.
Okay,
I want it too.
yeah.
That's why I have it.
Right.
Well,
Yeah, no. I can't think of one.
not even one.
No. Not really.
Well, you just played the Kirby demo today.
Yeah.
Not didn't do it for you?
It's fun.
I mean, it's Kirby.
It's fun. It's a Kirby game. But that demo, I got done with it and I was like, wait, that's it?
It's a demo. How much more do you expect there to be?
I know, but it was more of a confusion by the naming of the levels than it was the actual demo
Well,
itself.
it's hard because I think they just cherry picked a couple levels out of the game and just threw it at you. No explanation, no context.
Right.
Like the opening cutscene for the game is out there now. I haven't watched it yet. I'm trying to avoid it until I get the game. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think in context it would all make sense,
right?
But without the context,
the harder level,
I haven't played that one yet.
Is called Cave and Castle. So I was expecting 2 levels. It was
it was only one.
Yeah, it was like one continuous.
The easy one had 2 stages.
Yeah, it was like one continuous level. There was no like boss fight in between either. So it was just kind of like,
yeah. There's no boss fight in between.
That's why I was like, wait, that's it. That was more of wait, that's it.
Okay. Well, anyways, that's not a game you're looking forward to.
I mean, it was fun.
If Pokemon comes this year, is that one?
Yes.
Because are you going to be like me and actually pick it up?
Yes.
Like it's not like you said you want Payday 2, but you're actually going to be there and pick it up day 1.
Yes.
From Pokemon.
Yes.
You're going to try to give it a chance like
yes.
I am. Okay. Good. Not just good because like Pokemon's popular and it gives us a lot to talk about, but because I want us to have this journey together.
Well, right.
Try to see if we force ourselves to play like 30 hours, even if we're not enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get 30 hours, at least beat the main story, and see what it is that either made us start to love it again or made us realize this is why we don't like it now, or this is why. Like, because people always ask, and I'm like, look, I can give all these reasons, but I honestly haven't dived deep enough into one to really give you a concrete reason. And I want this game to be so good. I want it to suck me in like Gen 1 and Gen 2 kind of did.
Question, do you think this is going to be like a reboot?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea what they're planning. I almost wouldn't mind a reboot per se, because they kind of did that with the anime series. Like now, even then they brought the one of the more recent movies. Pokemon I Choose You is basically like a remake of the very first movie. So they're kind of sort of already doing that, but I don't know. I think Pokemon's just so huge now they can't reboot. I don't think they can. It's so popular, man.
Right, I know.
It's not one of those series where like it's starting to go down, so it feels like let's reboot the whole thing. We're saying reboot because we're so far behind. But like if we had played Pokemon the whole time and loved it this whole time, would we really want it to be rebooted?
I don't know. It's
gotta remember, everyone considers us Gen 1ers, so of course we want it rebooted.
Oh, right. But no, to me, there's so many Pokemon right now.
Yeah, that's not going to go away. They're never going to get rid of all. They're never going to get rid of. There's, I got conflicting numbers. Someone says 717. Someone says 809. Yeah. I don't know. I'll tell you when I get this Pokemon on Switch and I look at the Pokedex. It'll tell me how many there are. Right?
Yeah. There's somewhere between 700 and 800. I think somewhere in that area. But to me, it's such a large game and so many Pokemon that after a while it's just kind of like, all right, I'm done. I just can't.
Well, here's the thing though. That's because you have what people call the Gen 1er attitude, and that is the gotta catch 'em all. That hasn't been what Pokemon's been about in 15 years.
Yeah, but if you're gonna
that's what Gen 1 was about. Gotta catch 'em all. Well, obviously,
that was the damn tagline.
Beat the Elite Four and obviously become the champion. But then besides that, it was about getting every possible Pokemon you can.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to?
Completing the Pokedex.
Yeah.
Like, that was actually one of the main things, like, Professor Oak told you at the beginning of the game. I need your help completing the Pokedex. You need 151 Pokemon to do that.
Yep.
But at the time, it was 150. They added the 51st.
Yes.
151st a little later with Mew. Yeah, it was Mew. Yeah, Mew was 151.
Yeah.
Mewtwo was 150. Yeah. So, But that's the thing. We have that attitude, and that's why I want to go in to Pokemon on Switch, if it comes out this year.
Yep.
With the attitude that I'm erasing expectations. I'm not going to go in thinking I got to catch them all. I'm not going to go in thinking I have to be a champion or I need all the gym badges. I'm going to go into this like this is my first ever Pokemon game.
You're not going to go in thinking you're going to be the very best, like no one ever was.
No. I mean, I'll never forget the theme song, the original theme song. I never will. And I might even sing it in a live stream or something again for like the 5th time because I love that theme song so much.
Right.
But the thing is when I go into this game, I'm going to try my damnedest to almost forget everything I know about Pokemon and my memories about it and just go into this with like, look, I don't expect to catch them all. I don't expect to be a champion. I want to go in like this is my first ever Pokemon game and see what Pokemon is now today because the problem you have, like what you said, is you're thinking of Gen 1. You're not thinking of what Pokemon is today, because neither one of us are invested enough to know what it is today.
Yeah,
To us, we hear 700, 800 Pokemon, we're like, well, we're never going to catch them all.
You're right.
And then, I'm going to irk your mind even more, some of those Pokemon are only special event Pokemon that you have to travel to specific places to get during specific time frames on specific days, and then they never come back again. You can get mad. Technically, there was event Pokemon in Gen 1, too, just so you know. Like, you had to go to the Pokemon movie, and so, like, it's actually not new. It existed when we were kids. The difference is, I think it was Mewtwo or something like that, or Mew, I think. One of the best Pokemon in the game was locked behind. It was the only event Pokemon. But it was extremely easy to glitch the game to get it, because it was already in the game. So, like,
no?
everybody glitched the game to get it. Like, I glitched the game to get it. I never went to the event. I glitched the game and got all 151 Pokemon.
No. Game Genie.
No, I didn't Game Genie it.
That's how I got my Mew.
No, I didn't. I actually performed the glitch in the game.
Oh, I don't remember.
You
there
cheat
being a
coded.
glitch, yeah.
You cheat coder. That's okay.
Yeah, well.
Everyone used Game Sharks and Game Genies back then. Actually, I had a Game Shark on SNES, but I didn't actually. I didn't actually use the cheat things that much. I know you were bigger into it. I remember going to stores and you buying them. I'm like, you cheater. I
really didn't.
Yeah, you bought a Game Genie. And
No.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yes, you bought a Game Genie at GameStop. And I sat there and I looked at you and I'm like, you are a bastard. You are not a gaming purist.
Yeah.
I got so mad at you about it. I'm like, so you like to cheat, do we? And you're just like, okay, Big Daddy in Age of Empires.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's part of the game.
Yeah.
I didn't have to buy anything extra to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not like I do that in online matches unless it's allowed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even then, everyone's doing it. Who has the most Big Daddies? Go to town.
Right? Yeah.
Anyways. But yeah, besides obviously Pokemon, because we don't know if that's coming this year.
Right.
It's kind of one of those, we are in March, and it's really strange to think that we don't really know much of major games coming this year besides like re-releases or remasters. Dark Souls is coming. That excites me, but if you've played Dark Souls before, maybe that's not a big deal to you. You know, we have Hyrule Warriors coming out, Definitive Edition. Well, I've already bought it twice. I don't really think I'm going to pick it up a third time.
Right.
There is Bayonetta 1 and 2 that just came out earlier. But again, I played that all on Wii U. Don't really feel like I need to pick it up right now. Do I want to own all these things eventually? Sure, if they ever get cheap enough, then I'm willing to buy. But they're charging like full price for some of this stuff, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, right.
Even Kirby that they're charging a little cheaper for, it's like it doesn't feel like it's worth what, at least so far.
Right.
I'm sure it's a fantastic game, but it doesn't feel like it's worth like $50 or whatever they're charging.
No, it should be like it feels like it's
40. It should be a 3DS price game. Is what it feels like to me. $40. Yeah. And you think about other games, like we know Yoshi's coming eventually.
Yeah, I mean,
but again, Yoshi to me is just like another Kirby game where it's going to be really, really damn good, but it probably should just be $40.
Right.
And then, and I'm not just saying that because like I'm trying to put it down, but I'm like, it's a 2D side-scrolling platformer. I'm sorry,
and
those
it's not
games,
Mario.
those games aren't. Even if it was Mario, I'd say it should be $40 because these games don't cost a lot to make, and they're definitely not at the same level as like an Odyssey or a Zelda. Like that AAA price point is $60, should be saved for what is basically a AAA game.
Right.
I wouldn't consider Kirby to be AAA. It'd be more so a B tier. This is like the tweener game. This isn't an indie game, not quite a AAA game. It's still really damn good, but it's not one of those high budget games that should be $60. And then. You dive deeper into the rest. I mean, Fire Emblem is supposed to come this year. It was announced for 2018, but we still haven't seen it.
Right.
Who knows if that got delayed? We have no idea what's happening with Metroid Prime 4. That was announced. Don't know if that's coming this year. Right. Probably not. Maybe it is. We don't know. We literally don't know.
Right.
And beyond that, there's just not a lot. And I'm not putting out 2018 as being like we need to be scared because E3 hasn't happened yet. Once E3 comes and goes, that's going to determine if this is kind of a year.
Right.
But the thing is it's so hard because last year they were hitting things so hard heading into E3.
Oh, right.
Think about it. Even though Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was a port, it still was like Zelda, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and ARMS, I believe. ARMS landed after E3. Man, was it really just Mario Kart 8 and Zelda? Before E3?
No.
Then again, the console only launched in March, so like that's 2.5 months until E3.
Was Splatoon in there?
Splatoon 2 was July.
Right, but
That was after
were they
E3.
hitting that though?
What?
Were they hitting that yet?
Well,
Splatoon 2?
Well, yeah, we knew it was coming. Yeah.
So-
Well, that was one thing too. Like, even though we maybe only had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, a port, and Zelda in terms of Nintendo produced content, the thing is that we knew about ARMS, we knew about Splatoon 2, and we knew Odyssey was coming, and we also knew that Fire Emblem Warriors was coming as well. Like, we knew all these other games were coming. We're at this point where we know Kirby and Yoshi, and
Those are
Mario
ones-
Tennis Aces is another one.
Oh,
We know that one's coming. Besides that, nothing else is really guaranteed to hit this year that we know about. Like, yeah, we know Pokemon exists. We know Metroid exists. We know but all of these games before, even Xenoblade Chronicles 2, we knew before E3 last year, all of them said they were coming out in 2017. The only one that we know for sure as a 2018 date is Fire Emblem, because when they announced Fire Emblem, they said 2018. So you want to argue we know that's coming this year? Fine. But we don't know Pokemon's because it says 2018 or later. Metroid Prime is still TBA, so for all we know, that's not coming at all this year. We have rumors about Smash out there, and the thing is, we just don't know. It's really weird to be. I mean, Nintendo Labo. I guess I shouldn't discount Nintendo Labo's potential impact, but I think a lot of current Switch owners are not gonna care as much about Labo as potential future Switch owners or parents.
We're looking for the next Nintendo-driven AAA game.
Yes. That's a good way to put it. It doesn't have to be Mario. By the way, Mario and Zelda aren't the only ones they have.
Right.
They have other ones. It's just, when is it coming?
Right.
Fire Emblem could very well be it.
Right.
But we haven't seen it. We don't know if it's going to hit. We don't know if it's going to go that step beyond Echoes and Awakening on 3DS. Echoes and Awakening were $40 games. So for this to be $60, it's got to be that next level.
Right.
Is it going to be Animal Crossing? It's got to be next level over New Leaf and over Pocket Camp. We just don't know. It sucks. We just don't know.
Could you imagine Animal Crossing in the Breath of the Wild setting? just a wide open. Holy crap!
That's too big. There is such thing as too big for Animal Crossing. All right. But yeah, that's the thing. I'm skeptical, I think is a better way to put it for 2018. I'm excited about a lot of the ports. Like Dark Souls, I haven't played. Payday 2, I hadn't played, so I got it. But there's also all those ports coming from Nintendo. I played Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. I played all these games.
Right.
So there are fantastic games, and for people who didn't own Wii U, I highly suggest you buy them. But for me, I'm one of those. I own the Wii U.
You can't.
So now I'm not that excited yet. I can be. We're going to go to. Well, we're hoping we go to E3, and it blows our minds, and all this great stuff happens, and we get all this great content, and we're excited. But I'm still just at this point now where I'm just skeptical right now because it looks like the first 6 months, the biggest title is going to be Kirby and Mario Tennis.
Right, and Yoshi.
We don't even know if Yoshi's coming.
That's true.
In the first 6 months.
That's true. Yeah. Do we have an release date for Aces?
No.
No. Okay.
Amazon Spain has it listed for June 22nd, but again, that's Amazon. So
right. Yeah.
But either way, it was recently announced in Nintendo Direct. So
the only reason why I'm worried is because it just feels like it's petering out. To me, I mean, not in a sense of not the content. I mean, the amount of games.
Oh yeah, there's tons of games coming.
Right. It's the lack of the big punch.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm not sitting here telling you that I'm losing faith in the Switch or losing my momentum. Here's the thing. I have a huge backlog of games I don't even own yet that I need to buy. So I'm on content overload still from 2017.
Right.
There's still so many games I need to get. I still have many games I own. I just need to finish. Still need to finish Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as an example. Golf Story even. There's so many games I still need to finish. But that's because 2017 was so jam-packed that while I'm thankful about the slowdown now that's letting me catch up, it's still one of those things that, what do I prefer? A slowdown that lets me catch up or being extra hyped for another huge release? Here's the thing. To be honest, here's the deal. The games that I'm super hyped for, those are the games I beat already. Odyssey, Zelda,
Yep.
Splatoon 2.
Right. Yep.
I destroyed those games. The games in my backlog are obviously not the games that I was as hyped for.
Right.
So like that big, like Golf Story, I love it. And I know I'm savoring it. But it's still one of those things that if I was as hyped for it as Odyssey, I would have wrecked that game in a weekend.
Right.
But that's the thing. Like, that's the thing about that next major game is the next major game is not really going to deter me from my back catalog because I'm going to take 3 hardcore days and just destroy that bad boy, drop 70 hours into it, not sleep, and be done, basically. I mean, the only reason I'm even revisiting Odyssey right now is because I decided that I want to do a live stream series where I try to 100% and get all the moons. I don't think I'm ever going to get... I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm probably never going to get all the moons.
Yeah.
But I'm trying. It's hard to get... I think it's actually maxes out at 999. So, like, I at least want to unlock all the worlds. I don't have even all the worlds unlocked. Well, a lot of the moons aren't that hard to get.
Yeah, I know, but still.
But
and that's actually kind of what I've heard. Some of the knocks is that some of Odyssey is that there's so many moons.
Oh, just wait. I've been working on a little bit of a script.
Yeah.
My next editorial video about just give me the hate now about why Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is a better game than Odyssey.
Huh.
And the thing is like they're both fantastic games, and there might be people that don't have an issue with that, but there's a lot of people that like they hate Rabbids so much it's blasphemy to say that any game with Rabbids in it's better than Odyssey.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's better.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I always say the caveat is, of course, they're different types of games.
Right.
We're talking about a 3D platformer, a masterpiece 3D platformer at that.
Right.
You know, in compared to a tactical strategy game.
Right.
Like they're not in the same genre, so I can understand not comparing. But I'm sorry, I love both genres, and one is better than the other.
Right.
And if you don't agree, you probably haven't played it. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. But anyways, it's the editorial piece I'm working on. Obviously, it's highly opinionated, but it's going to bring up arguments on both sides.
Right.
And let you know like why I'm leaning one way, and it's going to end in the whole it's okay if you don't agree with me kind of thing. You know, like Odyssey is that good.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that either one of these games are terrible. If anything, I think Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is just really underrated.
Right.
I think it got overshadowed when Odyssey came out, and people just forgot just how good Kingdom Battle is. So yeah, again though, that's the thing. Like we're talking about these games from 2017, and even we don't even have a Kingdom Battle on the horizon.
Right.
You know, I mean, the DLC, I guess.
Right. It's just it feels like that there's a void right now.
Well, Nintendo had like the perfect mix last year. They're not going to have that every year, but like big title at launch, big title in the summer, big title in the fall.
Right.
Okay. And they had a bunch of titles in between. They had like their ARMS. You could say that's like a Kirby or something.
Right.
Like they had Zelda and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I understand port, whatever. So you could say if they bring Smash this year, Smash port, that equals to Mario Kart.
Right. Yeah.
Fine. But you had Zelda, and then you had Splatoon 2. And I know some people are like, oh, Splatoon 2. Like Splatoon 2 is probably over 6 million copies sold at this point.
Right.
I'm sorry, Splatoon 2 is now officially one of Nintendo's biggest IPs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a major game in the middle of summer.
Oh, for sure.
That is a huge that's creeping up on par with Mario Kart and Animal Crossing and heck, you know, Zelda. 6 million? Go look up the sales of Zelda games, man. Like Splatoon 2 is right there.
Yeah.
And then Odyssey, like those 3 huge titles pace the year.
Right.
And then in between, we still got excellent ones like Kingdom Battle and Warriors and ARMS and Mario Kart 8 and even though it was a port, whatever.
Right,
Minecraft even was like kind of a big deal when it came out because Minecraft's just big. Rocket League, LA Noire, Skyrim, Doom.
And you know, I don't have a problem with right. with I don't have a problem with like filler time being with ports and stuff like that because that's when they probably should be brought out.
I like the ports when there's major releases happening.
Oh, for sure.
I think people would be less concerned about all of the Wii U ports happening in the first half of this year if there was that huge hitting game. And maybe they think Kirby's that, but I just...
And the thing
Kirby's not a system seller.
Right, no. If they could shoot for 3 major games in a year and then just fill the rest of the time with ports and some higher end low games. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like
not AAA, but not you know ports.
I think what people and some people say, well, no company can do that. I understand that we're asking a lot of one company to pull this off, but here's my deal with this. I'm sorry, But I guarantee you most of their 3DS teams are making Switch games now.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have double the amount of developers working on Switch games, there should be double the amount of games.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that means there should be 2 to 3 heavy hitters every year. And we still, guys, remember, we're only at the beginning of the third month of the year. We still could get 3 big hitters this year.
Right, no,
we
for
could
sure.
end up with Smash.
Yep.
We could end up with Metroid.
And
we could
Pokemon.
end up with Pokemon all this year. It could happen.
Right.
We could get an Animal Crossing.
Right.
We could still have this happen. It just feels weird that
There's nothing announced.
probably happening all in the second half. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel. It feels like an unbalanced
Right.
year after they just had one of the most balanced years I think in gaming history.
Oh, for sure. And and I'm not even saying it has to be a Nintendo AAA game. Just something, some sort of big game, not a port,
Yeah, new game.
but a new game. Not even Nintendo has to be, but something big release.
The Wonderful
hold
102.
Hey, there you go. Why not?
that would be
Right.
more a mid-tier game.
Right. But kind of like
Like No More Heroes coming out again. Travis Touchdown Strikes Back. It doesn't matter. That's again another mid-tier game. Bayonetta 3.
right.
I would consider that AAA, and that's exclusive to Switch, and that's made by Platinum.
Mm-hmm. So
something
big like that.
But
or like
Bayonetta
a-
3 again. What's the
Is
thing?
it
Like
not
we
a-
just talked about 3 major games. Like we talked about Metroid. Metroid's not a system seller.
Right.
It's really weird. It's a high budget game, but it only sells a couple million
Right.
usually.
But I think there's a stigma to it that it feels bigger than a Kirby game.
Because I think it's more expensive to make than a Kirby make. It takes
Right.
more time to make it, and I do feel it's not a system seller in that it's moving millions of units. But you know what? Anyone who loves Metroid's buying a system to play that Metroid game.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, the fan base is small, but for that 1 month it's out, you could see 500K extra sales for Switch
Right.
that month because
Yeah.
so it's a system seller for the month it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Zelda and Mario and Animal Crossing where Pokemon where it's system seller for months upon months.
Right.
But it is one of those games in the small time frame will make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like you release a Kirby very well might even outsell Metroid. But it's just going to be from people who already own the Switch.
Right.
I personally feel it.
Right.
And I'm not trying to put down the
No,
Kirby
no,
fan
for
base.
sure,
There might
for
be
sure.
Kirby fans that are like, dude, I'm buying a Switch because of Kirby. That's fine.
No, that's great.
It's just still one of those things that it doesn't have that feel to it. I
Right.
guess we'll see. It's
Right.
releasing this month. We'll see if Switch gets a big boost in sales.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kirby is probably the biggest game to release on Switch from Nintendo this year
Okay. Yep.
so far. I'm trying to even think back. I can't think of any other thing since Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be the biggest game to launch from Nintendo as a publisher this year. And we'll see if that makes a difference in March. Maybe it will.
Right.
Maybe I'm underestimating the power of Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I could be. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just brand new.
Yeah, for sure.
At least they're charging $50 and it's not Payday 2, which is 5 years old.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's
And here's the thing.
that's kind
I want to tell you not to buy it, but I bought it.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm part of the problem.
And I'll probably end up buying it too.
I'm part of the problem, especially if we can find that $27
Oh,
deal on Amazon Prime.
for
again.
sure.
Like, I'm actually kind of mad that I didn't see it. That I would have bought it then instead of whatever. You know what? I wanted to have the patience. I really wanted it so bad, and I got the final copy they had at GameStop. So, and people are like, oh, you went to GameStop? Yeah, because I get bonus reward points, baby.
Yeah.
I probably could have actually paid I probably have enough reward points. I probably could have bought the game with the reward points. I really should look at my account again. I have a lot of reward points banked up. So yeah, I guess for topic 2, I guess my final thing, I'm just skeptical until they they give me a reason not to be.
Right.
Where everyone's waiting for that big direct or that big E3 moment where they ease our minds. I think Nintendo's in coast mode right now,
Right.
and they can afford to be because
Right.
Odyssey's that good, because Zelda's that good, because Splatoon 2 is that good.
Mm-hmm.
They had so many heavy hitters, they can coast on those for like 6 months, but from June on, they better hit us hard.
Right. No, for sure. Once E3 for sure.
All right. So we talked a little bit about these briefly, but what are your feelings on rumors? Now, to give you an idea, we have 3 more recent rumors over the last month.
Right.
One is that Bandai Namco is making Metroid Prime 4. Yeah, whether it was Singapore or now the Japanese studio, whatever. Bandai Namco making Metroid Prime 4. Then we had another rumor that Smash Bros. Basically, it's a Wii U / 3DS port with new content.
So
It's
kind of almost
going to
like
get
a
announced that
Warriors.
it's going to get announced. No, more like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is Mario Kart 8 with new content. They had the
Right.
whole new battle mode, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it'd be more akin to that, except Smash Bros. Is combining 3DS and Wii U versions together.
But isn't that what Hyrule Warriors did?
Yeah, I guess if you want to get technical like that, but they're not really adding any new content.
Okay.
They just added a couple costumes. Like they're
Got
talking
it.
about
Okay.
content, which
Got it.
probably means like
Got it,
ice
yeah.
climbers,
Right.
like maybe the Inklings,
New
like new
stagings,
characters,
yeah.
new stages, maybe a
Yeah.
new mode,
Right.
etc.
Okay.
Which is why I like it in Arcade Deluxe, where they actually added battle mode
Right.
and stuff
Yes,
like that.
yes.
Anyways, so I guess it's a combination of both ideas.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's supposedly getting announced at E3 and coming out this year. And then Pokemon Switch, there's been some hiring listings out there for localizers, so people assume it's being localized right now. So those are kind of the rumors out there. But setting those rumors aside, we talk about rumors at Nintendo Prime pretty frequently, I'd say. You know, anytime it's a rumor that I feel is from a source that gives me enough faith to believe there's a chance it could happen, we talk about it.
Right.
And I'm actually curious because I only ever really talked to myself about it. And myself always is in agreement.
Right.
So I want to ask you, like, what are
I
your
hope you would agree with yourself.
what are your feelings on rumors? Good, bad, otherwise?
Rumors can be fun.
In what way? In what way are rumors fun?
Can be. It's fun to a certain point, even if they're not right, even if they're not whatever, it's still fun to think, what happens if this actually does happen? Kind of opening your imagination, kind of thinking, ooh, that's a good idea. I hope this happens, or man, that's a terrible idea. Good God, I hope that doesn't happen. It's great at least it gets you thinking and hoping and wishing. Whether it's true or not.
Okay.
That is one thing I do like about rumors.
Okay.
Is it actually allows you to think about games, gets discussion going.
Sure.
The part that sucks about rumors is when it's wrong and everybody picks it up and acts like it's true. It's when people start taking rumors as truth without any definitive background and proof that it is true. Well, then I suppose it wouldn't be a rumor, but...
So I'm going to give you a common argument that I hear against rumors. Some people say that they don't like rumors because a lot of the rumors that people end up caring about are obviously game announcements.
Right.
Like Smash hasn't been announced, so it's a big deal that there's a rumor that Smash might be happening. The thing is, and by the way, Smash is happening either way.
Right.
Port, new game,
right.
It's obviously in development somewhere. It's too big of a franchise not to be. But I look at it as, or I guess this is the argument that they tell me. They tell me we don't like rumors because it affects the people who are making the game's ability to surprise us. Let me give you an example. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Right before E3 hit, we had that huge leak. Didn't know 100% if it was true.
Right.
It's just a rumor, but it was a leak. It had the official arch or Mario with a gun, arm cannons, blah, blah, blah. And that ended up being really, really fun. And admittedly, I still think most people were surprised when we saw the game.
Right.
But would we have been more surprised would it have been more hype? Would the announcement have been more impactful if we didn't even know anything about we didn't even know the game existed? Because that game was rumored to exist for like 6+ months.
Right.
So it was one of those things, if we never knew that Mario plus Rabbids crossover game was coming, and they just announced it at E3 out of nowhere. Like, it was a surprise to see Miyamoto come out with Ubisoft. It was a surprise to see him holding an arm cannon. It was a surprise to see Mario and Rabbids together.
Right.
Like,
How
I
is this
felt
gonna
like by
work?
E3
But,
we were over the surprise, even though it was still just a rumor.
Right.
So it's one of those things where their argument is, wouldn't these announcements be better if we didn't know about them before they happened? That's it. That's like the huge argument.
No.
And people get mad at me. Don't talk about rumors because you're ruining how they want to. Like everyone else is already talking about it, so don't blame me.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not just going to ignore something that's already happened.
Right. No, for sure. God, yes and no. I get their point. I really do. Yes, it does blow, but at the same point in time, you should still be surprised. if the rumor is confirmed. I mean,
But usually they're not. Like Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, basically everyone thought it was a real thing before E3 happened.
yeah.
So people weren't they were surprised by how good it looked, but they weren't surprised that it existed.
Right. But there's still some sense of surprise and
I know,
and
but
awe.
I mean, I guess the argument is that, like, say Smash Bros gets announced at E3.
Yeah.
People are expecting it to be announced at E3 now.
Yeah.
They're expecting it to be a Wii U and 3DS port.
Yeah.
So it kind of ruins. They're talking about ruining the surprise. Where they're basically talking about. Say we went into E3,
Right.
we didn't know anything Nintendo was doing.
Right.
Everything would be a huge announcement then. There wouldn't be as much disappointment in, oh, they didn't announce this because the rumors might end up being better than what reality is.
True.
Like,
True.
the disappointment's ripped away.
True.
You just get stuck with, here's all the surprises.
I also have to have the caveat, it is a rumor.
So what?
It is a rumor.
But it affects how people think.
You can never assume a rumor is true unless it's confirmed.
No, but here's the thing. You talked about, the bad thing when the rumor ends up being false and blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. For starters, most rumors are false.
Right.
But beyond that, rumors create a sense of hype.
Mm-hmm.
We see this with Nintendo Directs a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a bunch of rumors going into a Nintendo Direct, and then the Direct can't live up to the rumors, so a lot of people leave disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of people get mad that why are we even talking about rumors when all it ends up doing is actually creating a negative attitude around what actually is announced.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Mario Tennis Aces was one of the biggest announcements in that last Direct, that upset people. They were expecting something bigger.
Right.
Because of rumors.
Yeah. I get it. But you can't tell me.
Keep in mind, I actually love rumors, so I'm just trying to
Right.
present your guys'
No.
arguments you've given to me over the years.
No, I get it. And I understand where they're coming from. The thing is you can't tell me that you're not sitting there at home and thinking about this stuff. Like, what is Nintendo going to do next? What is this going to do? What is that going to do?
Yes, but there's a difference between you having a wish list. Like when I go on E3, we'll have a video about predictions or like wants
Right.
and desires. We do it every year.
Yeah.
Either a podcast or a separate video or whatever. We'll have something. Heck, it might even be better than special. I don't know what it's going to be. Don't know what it's going to be yet. We haven't gotten that far ahead.
Yeah.
But when we figure it out, there's going to be that thing where we just guess what we want to happen.
Right.
And that's different between you just guessing without any idea and you being like, oh, but I've heard X, Y, and Z. So now I expect at least 2 out of the X, Y, and Z's. And if you don't get the 2 out of the X, Y, and Z, you can argue it's your fault for expecting it, but you would have never expected it if the rumors didn't exist. So whose fault is it? The people giving the rumors, or is it you for trying to put any stock in it? Because what will happen is you might hear about the rumor and be like, oh, it's BS, but then all of a sudden one of the rumors comes true, and you're just like, well, okay, I thought it was BS, but it's true, so now that makes you more hyped for the next batch of rumors here, and the next batch. And like, everyone gets sucked in.
Yeah. No, I know.
Even if you want to say you don't, trust me, if you heard about a rumor and then it ended up being true, the next time you hear a rumor, you're going to be a little less skeptical about it.
Right. Until it slaps you in the face again, and then you're like, oh, right,
Yeah,
it's a rumor.
It's a repeating cycle.
Right. No,
that
I
happens
know.
again, and then all of a sudden another rumor is true.
I
Like,
know. But you got to realize that, though. That's the thing, is you have to realize that rumors are just that. They're rumors. A lot of times they will be false. You cannot get your hype up over it just because, something may or may not happen. You got to realize it may or may not happen.
So, the way I look at it, one, obviously, I like rumors. Multiple reasons I like rumors. One, I can't deny they get me lots of views. Rumors are very, very good for viewership. If there's a quality rumor out there that from a trustworthy source, and I make a video about it, people care. So, like, there also is that level of interest in the media where we're like, yeah, we know people want to hear about this stuff.
Right.
But beyond that, beyond the whole selfish reasons that you might like rumors as a media personality because it brings more attention to your channel or your video or your article or your Facebook post or tweet or whatever, Or I guess Instagram at this point. I gotta start gramming. A lot of people are Instagramming. I gotta get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot of it's not so much that it'd be more of a compliment. It's kind of like Twitter, where like if I'm out and about in my game side, we just snap a pic of, hey, look what I just picked up, Payday 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just throw it up on Instagram.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
It's just a great way, extra communication level that you're just not gonna get on YouTube.
Yeah.
But the thing is we talked about this briefly before. That point where when I played Ocarina of Time, it made me care about having conversations about games.
Uh-huh.
And what's nice about rumors, and not that we need them for this to happen, but rumors drive conversation about games forward.
Mm-hmm.
We spend a lot of time, I mean, at least I think, I try to spend a lot of time talking about games that have already released.
Mm-hmm.
Or games we know that are coming.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, one of the most exciting things to talk about is the unknown. And that's what rumors are. The rumors provide you a direction to talk about the unknown.
Right.
We never even had a conversation about, like, do we think Bandai Namco can make a good Metroid game? That wouldn't even be a conversation we would have if there wasn't a rumor for it.
Right.
And we're not going to have that conversation this week because I'm going to wait for a guest who really wants to talk about Metroid first.
Right.
But
that's fine.
well, I mean, you know me. You guys know when I have a very pointed topic like that, I like to bring in an expert.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Or,
sure.
at least someone who knows a lot more about the topic than I do.
Right.
As an example, I really want to have this one conversation about Pokemon, but I'm going to wait till we bring the expert on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even multiple experts. We'll see. But this is just one of those situations, I think, where my personal desire to have these conversations kind of clouds my judgment a little bit at times.
Right.
Because sometimes a rumor might be a little fishy, but also talk about it because I want it to be true.
Right.
And that's part of me, like, just being a fan. I can't help that.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also, like, for me personally, I have, like, that responsibility because people come to me for news. And even though I don't label it as news and I just label it as a discussion and a rumor and, like, even saying that it's likely not true, it doesn't matter. People saw the headline. They trust me. And it ruins my reputation as well.
Which is,
I mean,
kind of dumb.
Well, it isn't because we know that people headline hunt. I know that people watch my videos based on the headline, based on the thumbnail. Yeah. So, like, if the headline and the thumbnail are talking about something crazy, like the next Halo game's coming exclusively to Switch, that's what my headline is.
That'd be impressive.
and even if I put rumor on it, right?
Yeah.
I put rumor at the start of the beginning. That headline is going to draw in probably 50,000 people. Yeah. And even if I state several times that I do not believe this rumor, some Microsoft IP, there's no way in hell they're going to let this happen. Yeah. But then again, Microsoft doesn't have a portable machine, and they might see an audience or something. I don't know. Like, I'll come up with reasons why it could be true. It'd be one of those things where it's going to ruin the reputation of my place because people believed me because they trust me. They see that headline, they're like, oh my God, he would not be reporting on this rumor if it wasn't a good chance of being true. Yeah. And all I really did was brought it up so I could talk about it. Right. And that's what sucks about my YouTube entity is, like, I put up a vlog the other day. Yeah. Right? About, it was on Pokemon Day, whatever. The day Pokemon came out, 22nd year anniversary. They had a bunch of event stuff going on. And I went out and I caught the event thing on Pokemon Go. Recorded a video in the car, like, where my son was asking to play Mario Odyssey when we got home. Told you, I love that game. Yeah. And then recorded myself talking to because it's not plugged in, talking to my Google Home. Yeah. Because they, for that day, let you ask Pikachu questions. Nice. So, like, I made this whole vlog about all this stuff. And yeah, I didn't get a lot of views. I didn't think it would because vlogging's not what my channel is about. Right. But, like, some people in the comments were like, shouldn't this be on a different YouTube channel? And it's like, well, no, because it's about Nintendo, and I do what I want. Right. That's my attitude. Nintendo. I'm like, I do what I want, but, like, what happens is because I have this show not like Prime News, because I've been reporting on news, people expect my channel to just be that's what I do. I don't bring up anything unless it's news, and it kind of sucks. You get stuck in this rut where
you get pigeonholed.
I do more than just news on my channel. I have my arguing with myself video I released. I have my discussion videos. Yep. I have this podcast. This isn't news. And it makes me sometimes not want to have the conversations I want to have because I'm afraid that headline is going to screw me. And the thing is, people are like, well, just don't make the headline that. Yeah. Just like make it some bullshit that is whatever and not necessarily about the topic, so you can talk about it. And then my only response is, but then no one's going to watch. And the whole point of me making it, like, I don't want to make videos, like the vlog. I didn't think a lot of people were going to watch it, but the vlog is something that I think is more for the core audience. Like the vlog exists for the hardcore Nintendo Prime audience. They're the people that give a shit about what's going on in my life.
Right, yeah.
So, like, it's for them. It's not for the people who watch all my news videos or watch these podcasts. It's for the people that care about me as a person, probably, is probably the best way to put it. So it's always going to be a low view one. It might grow over time. Potentially, it could bring in more and more people who care. You know, we're not going to be C&D over here. We're not going to be a Logan Paul, or even Jake Paul, or any Paul, or KSI, or Rice Gum, or, God, that whole mess of people. But it's just, it's fun. It's something different. And what I like about the vlog thing, and this is why I even did it in the first place, is because I've been so busy lately. What's the easiest way for me to get a piece of content out? Well, I could just record some shit going on in my life.
Right.
As it's happening, because I can't be in my office.
Right.
And then I turn it into a video at the end of the day. It's really, I understand now why vlogging is kind of become this big thing, because you basically just live your life and record parts of it and put it together. I get it. I get why people vlog. I don't get why people enjoy watching vlogs, but I understand how people came to do vlogs.
Right.
But even then, like, again, it's another piece of content that's not like my news, and I always worry with rumors that I have to tread so lightly that I have to avoid conversations. I mean, I say avoid. I try to bring it to the podcast where I feel like it's everyone knows, more open forum.
Right.
From the moment they hit play, okay, this is a discussion thing.
Right.
Not
this is all discussion. This is rumors.
But the headline still is sometimes titled in a way that kind of makes them be like, oh, wait, they're talking about Metroid Prime rumors?
Yeah.
They're talking about gaming memories? They're talking about this news report about Switch? Like, I'm turning in for the news. Like, I've had people say, oh, I watch your podcast for the news every week, and I'm like, what? I mean, we talk about news, but the point of the podcast is the discussion, not the actual news.
Right.
Because I already reported on the news. If you wanted the news, I already did that.
Right.
Go watch my Prime News. Like, now the Prime News is new. Right. But go watch Prime News every day, 5 days a week. Like, that'll give you all the news you need. The Monday show is going to be crazy if a bunch of news hits over the weekend, because I'm going to have a whole weekend worth of news to recap. Yeah. Thankfully, Nintendo usually doesn't have news hit over the weekend, but
yeah, could happen.
It sometimes things get crazy. We've had Nintendo Directs land on Sundays, so that's just okay. Right. That would suck. Every time it feels like almost like half the time I'm in the middle of a live stream, some big news hits, and I'm like, should I stop the stream? You know what, guys? Let's just play games. Let's not talk about the news.
Yeah. Great.
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to understand everyone's side on this, but my personal opinion, I just love discussing potential futures of things. And
that's my thing, is people got to stop taking rumors as 100% true. It's not.
It's not. I don't think it's not that people take it as 100% true. It's that rumors create I guess a false sense of hope. Regardless of if you think it's true, a lot of people say it's not that we 100% believe a rumor.
Right.
It's that it makes us want to believe. It gives us hope. And when that hope is crushed, it sucks.
Yeah. But you also got to know that with rumors, though, too, is that there is a chance.
But it's emotional.
It is. It is.
You can't take emotions out of people.
No, I know.
That's the thing. Like, this is the one argument I always understand against rumors is, if there is no rumor giving you hope, the only person you can blame if you feel like you're disappointed is yourself.
Right.
When announcement times come around. Because there was no false promises out there or false hopes about what's going to happen. So maybe you could still be disappointed that nothing was announced you like, and that's fine. But at least you didn't go in expecting there to be something announced that you liked. Whereas the rumors will be like, oh, man, you should expect Smash, or you should expect this, or you should expect that, blah, 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 blah. Like, a lot of people are going to go to E3 this year expecting a Smash announcement. And if all we end up getting announced is like an Animal Crossing, which would be pretty big, but like Animal Crossing is their big game. They don't announce Pokemon coming this year. They don't announce Metroid. And the other big game isn't even Smash. Say it's Pikmin 4. And like they give us that, and I don't know, maybe they announce maybe they have a Castlevania game. Maybe they partnered with Capcom, have a Castlevania game coming or something.
Yeah.
It's like, that's it. But there was nothing on the level of Smash. There was nothing on the level of Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing on the level of Metroid, and we all were expecting this stuff. Instead, the best game coming this year's Animal Crossing. And the thing is, we have these expectations because of, look at the 3 rumors I just listed.
Yeah. No, I know.
They're creating expectations.
Yeah.
Even if people are like, yeah, but we don't really believe it, but we want it to be true.
Right.
And they wouldn't necessarily want it to be true if they weren't being given the hope of it being true. That rumors create hope.
Right.
And the thing is, I get hyped about rumors too. I really do. Like, a big rumor comes out, say, like Emily Rogers. A lot of people give me flack about Emily Rogers, but she's got a lot of stuff right. She's gotten a lot of stuff wrong. So I would say any rumor she throws out is a 50-50 prospect. 50-50 prospect is really damn high in Rumorville.
Oh, yeah.
Like, most people, when they throw out rumors, it's like 99% fake. They're just making it up.
Right.
But the fact that she's half true, half wrong means she's not really making it up. She's getting information. Just not everything comes out as planned. Games get canceled. Projects get moved on. Blah, blah. Like things happen in the industry. So when you got 50-50, she throws out a rumor I really want to be true. Like say, before E3 comes out, Emily Rogers mentions, hey, so there's a new Zelda game being made, and it's going to get announced at E3. My part of me is going to say bullshit. We just got one last year.
Right.
And the other part of me is going to remember Twilight Princess got announced the E3 after Wind Waker came out. So it's going to be like, no, I've done this before. So my hype level is going to go way up here. And then when the best announcement's Animal Crossing, I'm going to be like, that's a disappointing E3.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it would be a disappointing E3. I think most of us would agree with Animal Crossing. Not that nothing against Animal Crossing, but if that was it. If that was the top game, Animal Crossing and Pikmin, as awesome as those games are, like if that's it, yeah, it would be disappointing anyways, but it's even more disappointing when you start expecting something that you might not have expected otherwise. Like if a rumor comes out about a Zelda game at E3, I would have thought, the thought of a new Zelda game getting announced at E3 never crossed my mind till the rumor happened.
Right.
You know, the thought of Smash Bros. Coming out this year never crossed my mind really until the rumor happened. So it's kind of like this is I think this is just a tough. Yeah, I mean, really, I should be throwing this out to you guys because it's you guys that have these issues.
Right.
Like I understand because I've been disappointed because rumors weren't true, and I've been excited because rumors were true. But in general, I try not to let rumors affect my overall opinion on something.
Right.
Like when I was disappointed by the last Nintendo Direct a little bit, it was just mostly because they had just announced games I mostly played. It wasn't because of the rumors heading in. It was just based on the Direct itself. At the same time, I might have been the most hyped person in the world when Mario Tennis Aces was announced. I don't know if I've seen anyone else get as excited. I made a whole video saying Mario Tennis Aces saved the Direct. And everyone's like, what do you mean Mario Tennis Aces saved? I'm like, oh, it's really pathetic when it's a Mario Tennis game. I'm like, no. Do you remember Mario Tennis made by Camelot back in the day? My... Dude, it was like every level is to me as good as Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
it was just insanely amazing. Like people don't get that.
Right.
Get why I'm hyped for it. The thing is, I don't think it's gonna be as good as that one. But I'm gonna hold out hope. I don't think it's an RPG. That's the thing. I don't. It's got a single player campaign. I don't think it's an RPG. But still, it's a step in the right direction for me. It's like the one thing Mario sports games needed to do was take single player seriously. They're at least doing that. And the thing is, I don't expect people to be as like I get it. Most people don't give a crap about Mario sports games, so I don't know. I guess I love rumors. I'm gonna keep reporting on them. So if you're someone who doesn't like rumors, maybe we're not gonna be the channel for you. I'm sure you can find a Nintendo channel out there that refuses to talk about rumors. I'm sure. No, I'm sure it's true. There's. Here's the thing. If there isn't, and you just want Nintendo news and don't want the stuff, go make that YouTube channel that only takes the facts, does not look at any rumors or even like the cryptic tweet from Diablo about where they had a glowing Diablo 3 head on a light switch and they were turning it off and on, off and on, off and on, which seems to be a cryptic thing towards Switch. Still technically factually towards Switch.
Right.
It's all speculative.
Right.
So like you wouldn't want to talk about that because that's like a rumor.
Right.
It's a rumor started by Blizzard, but it's still like a rumor. So a rumor started by fans, I guess, because again, it could be nothing. Maybe they're releasing Diablo 3 light switch covers.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, literally, that's all it could be.
Yeah.
That would be to me that'd be like the greatest troll of all time.
That would be hilarious.
But, anyways, let's move on to this last topic because it's one that goes against what I thought Nintendo was going to do. The topic says that Nintendo apparently was going to wait a long time for a Switch revision. We're talking about the actual physical hardware that you hold in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
So the Joy-Cons and the actual tablet. And it says they want to expand sales with peripherals. And what is the right time and what sort of revisions do we want is kind of the question we're going to have. And then what sort of peripherals can drive sales until then. But let's get right into the quotes. These come from Takahashi Machizuki. Now, he is one of the Japanese reporters for Wall Street Journal. And he has contacts inside Nintendo. He goes to all the financial briefings. And generally, when he reports on something, now, granted, you could bring up the fact he reported on the Netflix rumor for Nintendo way back when, and that ended up like being nothing. But again, kind of like the Emily Rogers situation, it doesn't mean there wasn't a discussion involving Netflix and Nintendo at one point.
Exactly.
And plus, Castlevania ended up coming out. I know that's not Nintendo, but it's still one of those things where it's like, these things are always a process in the back end. So you want to read his quotes here about this is what he had to say. This is translated, by the way. He actually usually puts his stuff in English, but he was tweeting in Japanese, and this got translated by someone from his Twitter.
The people familiar said expanded Switch features in the coming year could also include additional network-related features and peripherals to be attached to its USB-C port. Next quote. But they said changes to the Switch itself, like a similar or smaller version of the machine, were unlikely this year, as Nintendo focuses on better manufacturing and shipping of the current model. At an investor briefing in February, Mr. Kimishima and the Nintendo CEO said he wanted to make the Switch product cycle longer than the 5 to 6 year span that's become customary to the video game console industry. One person familiar with the development plan said waiting longer to introduce variations in the hardware would serve that purpose.
So here's my thought process. First off, because he only talks about this year, I don't think there was waiting longer wouldn't include this year, because this year, I mean, it's not like we got new Nintendo 3DS year 2 of 3DS.
Right.
Like, no, you were talking year 3, year 4. So if there's not a revision this year, but there is next year, that's still on pace with what Nintendo's been doing.
Right.
So the fact that they said that one person with familiar with the development plans, so they want to wait longer, that to me tells me it's not going to be a revision next year either. Mm-hmm. We're going to be looking at year 4, year 5, somewhere in there finally where you get either the Switch Mini, which I don't think should exist, but whatever. If it does, it does. Or Switch XL, or a new Nintendo Switch with Tegra X2 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So there's that. That's what I get from this anyways. It technically only says a year, but I think a year wouldn't mean anything. It has to be more than that for this to matter. 2, what actually gets me, and this makes me curious about this holiday. Because it says, people familiar with said the Switch features in the coming year could also include additional network-related features and peripherals to be attached to the USB Type-C port. Mm-hmm. There's only 2 things that I know of that attach to the USB Type-C port. Mm-hmm. Things that charge your Switch, like power banks, battery banks, or actual cord in the wall.
Yep.
And the dock.
Right.
And it's going to be network-related features and peripherals.
So they finally putting a network port.
Well, network port, a new dock with a network port would that make sense, or with an Ethernet port. But I'm thinking when they talk about additional network features and peripherals to be attached to the USB Type-C port, are we talking about an external GPU dock?
Possible.
Because that would not involve a hardware revision. That would just be a separate dock purchase for like $150, $200. Mm-hmm. And you put it in there, and even if it doesn't necessarily boost your games, that could be where they could start to claim, hey, by the way, Switch does 4K Netflix. Switch does. Does all the four. Like maybe well, no, but here's the thing.
Right.
Maybe that's why they're not doing Netflix yet.
Maybe.
Because Hulu doesn't have 4K.
Okay.
Netflix does.
Yeah.
Amazon does. So they could be like, look, we are not launching these services because we're launching it alongside as a promotional tool for a 4K dock.
That works.
And then Switch games are just upscaled to 4K, but they're not actually more powerful. It's just the internal, just the internal upscaler, the same one they're using for the 4K stuff.
Right.
That's what I get out of this. Is this holiday they're planning something huge like that, and it's not going to be bundled with the Switch because they're not going to want that $400 price point to get hit, or $500 price point, or whatever they have to do. Like they're not going to want that on the market. They're still going to sell it with the standard dock, but they're going to have this whole Netflix TV push with this dock. Maybe even somehow get it bundled in with certain TVs that are discounted on Black Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking of ways they could promote it, but like that's what and now part of that's a hope and a desire. Another part of that is they're talking about peripherals that are attached to the USB-C thing.
Right.
There's only 2 things that are attached to it.
Or are they coming out with some sort of really slim battery pack to extend your battery life?
But those already exist anyway. So it's like
I don't know, just
how's that going to extend the longevity of Switch and increase sales by releasing like. To me, when you're talking about increasing sales, it's got to be something like Labo, as an example. That could increase sales.
No, for sure.
That's not attaching to the USB-C port. You're putting your thing in cardboard.
Yeah.
So it's making use of the Switch.
Still gets me.
Well, it's making use of the Switch in unique ways, but that's not specific to the USB-C port.
Right.
Specifically, USB-C
No, for sure.
has the ability for external GPUs.
Yeah.
So it's like they had a patent way back when about external computing devices. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like it's all starting to come together to me here. Like they are actually going to do something with that. There's been rumors that in the manufacturing side they actually developed a 4K dock.
Yes. That
went out to some developers. It's just not public or anything. And it's kind of like all this is starting to come full circle. It's like Nintendo might have been planning to do this the whole time. And while it doesn't, what they didn't want it to do was necessarily provide so much extra power to the Switch that it's when you take it portable, the games just don't run.
Right.
So what they're doing instead is like, look, we're going to enable 4K media playback, and we're going to allow your games to get like
visually boosted
to a 4K resolution.
Right.
But we're not going to affect
the gameplay
the gameplay performance. Like it's still going to be 30 FPS. We're not going to boost it to 60.
Right.
Or whatever. We're not going to use it in that way. Because it's not going to be like we're putting a GTX 1060 in there. They're just talking about an upscaling hardware. Mm-hmm. Hardware upscaling that's better than your TV. Mm-hmm. That enables native 4K Netflix. Like native 4K Netflix would be huge for me.
Right.
I would love that. But so it's that's what I see. Now my other thought process is there any other peripherals you could see besides that would push sales for years? Wii Motion Plus back in the day could be argued that was kind of one that maybe because it made better. And that was a peripheral.
I could see them expanding on the Labo idea.
Okay, yeah, they're going to do more of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting to see if they ever moved away from keeping cardboard, but doing something else in a similar fashion, but using different materials, different types of, almost like robotics in a way.
Sure. I think one thing they might be willing to do, because maybe they don't consider it a hardware revision, is new types of Joy-Cons.
Maybe.
Like, even if it's just like, oh, you like the GameCube style controls? Well, here it is in Joy-Con form. Mm-hmm. Or some sort of Joy-Con-like attachments that they could attach to the Switch and do something crazy with. Not that I would be interested in that, but we know they did a bunch of crazy things with Wiimotes. So,
right.
Who knows?
Do you think they'd be willing to do a corded controller? Does it allow plug-in the USB-C? I'm guessing that's just mostly an output, right?
What do you mean?
Because would you be able to plug a controller into the USB-C and have it input? Or is the USB-C only an output in the Switch?
Well, you can have it input because you can, when you plug it into the dock, you can hook up wired controllers to the dock.
Okay.
So obviously in theory, there's no controller that exists that does that, but they could create something that could.
Right. So maybe creating a GameCube controller for the Wii.
Can't believe we're bringing the
Switch
GameCube controller back. It's my fault. I brought it up.
No. But I'm saying bringing an NES controller to the Switch.
Why? All they need to do is bring out a Joy-Con that has a D-pad.
Right. Well, there's that.
Solves the problem.
Well, there you go. I mean, that is also a possibility too.
I don't know. I have a hard time with peripherals because I always think peripherals, beyond some useful things like battery banks and stuff like that,
Right.
they're just gimmicks.
Yeah.
That's all they are. They're just a bunch of gimmicks. They're not why people buy a product. They don't really push sales of the product. Like, oh man, you can buy these plastic wheels from Mario Kart. That's not why people bought Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like, oh man, look at Wii Sports. Look at it. You could buy plastic golf clubs and stuff like that. That's not why people bought Wii Sports.
Right.
Like, none of that pushes sales of the system. The game itself did.
Right. Right.
So, I don't know. I guess, I have my one idea. You threw out some ideas. One question I want to get to, because we're going to kind of wrap up the podcast, is when, this is one of the first questions, what is the right time and what sort of revisions do we want when they finally do a revision? Because basically, this is admitting there will be a revision of the Switch someday.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So what's the right timing to you, and what does that revision need to be?
I can see it being at the end of year 3, maybe 4, early 5 at the very, very latest.
Well, because one thing that we do always have to remember, there's going to be a PlayStation 5, Xbox 2,
right,
eventually.
Right.
We don't know when.
Right.
We don't know how much Pro and X is extending this generation.
Right.
We don't know if there could be another revision on top of those. We don't know.
Right.
But it feels like to me by at least 2020, there would be new systems, because that would be 7 years of those systems being on the market.
Right. Now, were we talking about revisions? Are we talking like
it's a hardware revision?
Okay,
That's
so like a full brand new.
Yeah, it'd be like getting a new Nintendo 3DS XL, like a new, a new Switch.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So,
what's the right time, and what does the revision need to be?
Well, obviously, it's got to be a little bit more powerful.
What are we talking? What's a little bit?
Well, I didn't say a little bit. I just said it has
Well, you
to
said
be
it
more
had to be a
powerful.
little bit more powerful. You literally just said that.
Did I say a little bit?
Yeah.
No, I meant it just has to be more powerful.
Okay,
obviously.
so how much more?
I don't know.
Does it need to be like a new generation kind of power, like a generational leap?
It depends on where we are with the technology. Really. I mean, I can see it being, like, honestly, if we come out with the Tiger X3, X4...
Fully backwards compatible, are we talking? Are we talking cross-generation games where everything still plays on the OG Switch?
I can see it being more of like how they treated the 3DS. Honestly.
Okay, well then you're talking slight upgrade. Tegra X2.
Right.
Barely more powerful than the OG. But it is more powerful, factually.
Right.
It just makes things a little bit smoother, but grand scheme doesn't make a big difference.
Mm-hmm. I can see them doing that. I'm not saying that that's what it needs to be, but that's where I'm kind of saying them going with it.
See, if
to me, it
well, that's
to
the
me
thing. I asked you, what revisions? What is the right time, and what sort of revisions do we want? Like, is that what you want? Is it just to be a small upgrade?
No, I would much rather see it going up to the top of the line of whatever it can, or as close to the top of the line as possible. But because like, let's say, for some odd reason they wait another 3 years before they bring it out, and let's say by then we have the Tegra X4. I mean, if they go to 3, it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal, depending on how new and how expensive the 4 is.
Well, like my take was, this is what I've talked about this before. What I wanted them to do, not this year, but next year, next summer or next holiday or whatever, launch a new Nintendo 3DS or XL or 3DS, Switch XL or whatever, with the Tegra X2. That's basically a new Nintendo 3DS where it's just more power efficient. Instead of 720p local screen, we get 1080. Same battery life, basically. It's basically the same thing as the normal Switch, just that slight boost. And they keep it at the same price, and at the same time, while they charge $300 for this new one, the old one, they finally offer you the ability to buy it without the dock for $200. So now you can get the OG Switch for $200. You can get the new one for $300 with the dock. And you can still buy the dock separate. Hopefully they cut the price of the dock in half at some point in here.
Right.
And then when that's all done, that's not it. That to me was like, this was the roadmap. This is where I talked about how their roadmap should be iterative in that that's 2.5 years out. Here's a slight upgrade, and then not not in 2020 when I think like PlayStation 5 might be hitting 2020, but halfway through 2021, which again would be 2 years after this new one hit. That's when you hit like a kind of sort of X version, like a generational leap style version, where it's like it's either Tegra X3, X4, or whatever. It might even be Tegra at that point. Whatever the technology is they have with NVIDIA, they hit with that. Now it's still going to be behind the PlayStation 5, of course.
Well, yeah,
because if PlayStation 5 is still a standalone box in your TV, mobile technology can't necessarily compete with that, especially that early.
Right.
But the key thing to me is always going to be price point. Like when you talk about like Tegra X2 even now, and I can't use the Tegra X2 now because the system will cost $500 to use it. They have to wait till it's cheap enough.
Right.
So like when you talk about like what you want a Tegra X4, well, I want that. Well, if a Tegra X4 is available in 2021, I want them using a Tegra X4 that can output 4K visuals at 60 FPS or whatever.
Right.
That's what I want. But like the thing is,
right, exactly, yeah.
I think it would almost be too pricey for the market.
And that's just it.
So like I'd be willing to spend $500.
Right.
I'm willing to buy. I want to buy an Xbox One X this year. It's gonna be $500. Granted, now you can get a game with it, which is nice.
Right.
One thing I'm glad I waited is now you can get games with it for $500.
Nice.
But so I am actually glad I didn't buy into it when it came out, just because now I can get a game with it this year. And if I can hold off until this holiday, might be able to get a couple games. Like even at GameStop, they might even have a used X with like 3 games bundled. That would be sweet.
Right.
But my thought process is that's what I wanted to happen. But now this report's making it seem like that's not what Nintendo's going to do.
Right.
That they're going to have like a new version of it, but it's not going to be this iterative thing where every couple of years they have a new one come out. And I know some people are going to be happy about that because they don't like iterative, and that's fine. But I always look at it as the Switch. The problem with mobile tech, the huge, like when you're talking about under TV video game consoles, there's a reason that 360 could get away with being what it was for as long as it was, because there isn't really anything else in the market making you have to go forward.
Right.
Because PC gaming's always considered this separate thing from console gaming. So while PCs are massively ahead, it didn't matter because there really wasn't anything in the home console space that made you need to upgrade.
Right.
Whereas the problem with Switch is when you get to the point that people can emulate Odyssey on their damn phone.
Oh, for sure.
It's one of those things where it's like, now you're talking about the Switch is, like, mobile tech is moving so fast.
It is.
And Nintendo's now squarely in that mobile tech. I know we can argue there's nothing competing with the hybrid nature, but let's be honest, it's still there. They are squarely in the phone game.
Right.
This is in the mobile tablet space.
Mobile tablet, yes.
So the moment that their games can be like playable on other mobile tablets, it's like Nintendo's got to step their game up. Nintendo's got, like the Tegra X1 made so much sense because it wasn't necessarily cutting. It was cutting edge in 2015.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily cutting edge by the time it came out, but it was in the upper echelon of the best of the best for gaming purposes on mobile. But even now, it's behind with all the new Apple and the new Samsung coming out and other new devices. And so it's already behind. And by the time 2021 hits, I mean, we're going to be talking about that phone in your pocket is 4 times as powerful as the Switch.
Right.
But that phone costs $1,000. So how's the Switch going to compete when a new one comes out? Because they can't charge $1,000.
Right.
Now, granted, there's other things they can cut out that's going to make it not have to be that all stuff. But it's still one of those to me that I don't. If they don't do the iterative where they have the small upgrades every 2 years, I don't know how they can compete long haul with that phone with that device in your pocket.
Almost have to.
It's already to the point now where you just do a flick and that pocket thing streaming on your TV now.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the convenience of controllers and everything. Like I'm not saying right now that my phone replaces my Switch.
Right.
But if my phone can play Odyssey and I could just Bluetooth a controller to it, when I'm on that airplane going to E3, why bring 2 devices when I can have one?
Right. And I can make phone calls and everything else that you already do on it.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's.
I mean, we're not at that point now.
No,
we're years away from that. But the only thing that ever concerned me about this mobile game for Nintendo is they got to play the mobile game to stay in the mobile game. Which means
that's the thing.
If they wait 4 years, I just don't know.
You almost have to stay.
It have to be a big jump, and that big jump has to come with a big price hike.
You almost have to just stay slightly ahead of the mobile game, the phone game. And that's the problem is you're at that point.
We also don't know
almost doing that every
A big caveat on this is we don't know what the deal is with NVIDIA. We know that NVIDIA publicly said it's like a 10-year partnership. The initial contract's like 10 years. So to me, that means Nintendo's planning 10 years of Switch bare minimum. And what we don't know about that is we don't know what the deal is. Like, yes, a Tegra X2, if someone else wants to use it, might make something cost $500. But Nintendo's contract with them might get it at an extremely discounted price.
Right.
To the point, NVIDIA might even lose money on it. There was talks about they might even be losing money on the X1 with Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
But NVIDIA is willing to do that because it's getting them into the gaming space that they have failed to penetrate. Because AMD has owned it this whole time. It's getting them into the mobile space, which they have failed to penetrate because AMD has owned it this whole time. So that's another thing to consider too, because even though the Tegra X4 or X3 or whatever is coming out, even if it's not Tegra, whatever it ends up being, even if it would be an $800 chip at the time, Nintendo might be able to get it inside their Switch for $400 because they have that kind of partnership with NVIDIA for this first 10 years. Now, if they re-up the contract, then things might change because NVIDIA at that point might be like, well, we kind of own your technology. We are your technology. We're not going to give you that big discount anymore. You've moved hundreds of millions of Switches. We want a bigger piece. We want to actually make money off of this. Now we realize you need to stay price competitive, so maybe we'll just make a couple bucks per chip instead of like overcharging you. But whatever. That's to worry about in 10 years, or I guess at this point 9.5. We don't really know when the partnership started. We could already be in year 3 of the partnership, probably.
Right, for sure.
Because we don't know if like the contract. Obviously, the contract existed before the Switch came out, but like if the 10 years is like from day of release. 10 years forward, or if it included the pre-development. Who knows? We don't know. We don't even know. Like, they just said 10 years, too. That's like a public statement. It could be longer than 10 years, probably. They're just throwing out a random number to be like, hey, for the next decade, we own Nintendo. Nintendo tech.
Right.
We are Nintendo's tech.
Was that confirmed, though, or was that just...
That was NVIDIA's press release.
Oh, okay.
So we have a 10-year partnership.
Okay. I thought it was one of those we were hoping to have a 10-year partnership.
No, they said they have a 10-year partnership.
Okay.
But see, the thing is, that doesn't mean Nintendo's just doing Switches for 10 years.
Right.
Like they could easily, like if they do make an underbox thing again, like it would just be using NVIDIA tech instead of AMD.
Right.
But very interesting too, because you could argue like sticking with AMD, PlayStation 5 is in a very good place because APUs are getting crazy good right now. And now the Ryzen APU, like the 2400G, it's cheap and blows the pants off of PlayStation 4. They're in a good spot right now because there's not a lot of competition from the other side yet on that. I mean, it's gotten to the point now where Intel is partnering with AMD for APUs.
Wait, what?
To put Vega graphics on Intel chips.
Wait, what?
Because that's how ahead in the APU game AMD is right now. Like, yes, their Vega 56 or 57 or whatever and 64 are not like as good as people wanted them to be or hoped they would be, but for APU purposes, they are so far ahead of the game right now. This year, we'll see if it changes. But when you get to the point that Intel and AMD actually have a partnership, it's kind of like
right.
Obviously, Intel knows that AMD's got something on NVIDIA in this APU market, and on top of that, Intel's been owning a lot of the mobile tech stuff. So. Or AMD has been, so it's kind of like Intel knows that, okay, AMD knows what they're doing with these combo chips. Like, and I think that's why NVIDIA might have been willing to give Nintendo what was probably a discount price, because they don't have their inroads. And that doesn't mean that the Tegra X line is bad. It's just an interesting competition where I actually think if, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if Sony wanted to create a competitor to Switch, they're in a very damn good position to pull it off.
Right.
Just throw the damn 2400G. Runs your whole goddamn system. With some RAM. Chuck that bad boy in a Switch-like device now, and Nintendo's in trouble in terms of just competitive. Now, again, it hasn't happened yet. Sony, for all we know, has no interest in doing it.
Right.
Microsoft, they're a wild card. Who knows what they're doing? Now like people are thinking they might buy Sega now, and who knows? Who knows what Microsoft's doing? They're a wild card right now because they promoted Phil Spencer to a position where they can make major decisions now, like buying out companies. So I don't think anything's going to happen this generation. But for the following generation on Xbox 2, I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft has a major acquisition like a Sega or a Platinum Games or something. where they buy out a major studio so they can start having more and more exclusive games. Kind of like when they bought Rare, but it would be a bigger acquisition than that. It would be a company that's regularly putting out games, not just like one game at a time every 3 or 4 years. And that was obviously an interesting situation because near our hearts and Nintendo. And what sucked about it is Nintendo was offered the ability to buy them out, and they said no. So like when we like, oh, mad at Microsoft, I'm like, well, I mean, one, get mad at the Rare people for wanting to sell,
Right.
the owners. Two, get mad at Nintendo for not. They literally went to Nintendo first and said, hey, do you want to buy out the rest of our company? And they said no. Now Nintendo learned their lessons with Retro Studios and bought them out, but it's kind of like, I wish Nintendo would about Rare.
Yeah.
Rare. Imagine if they had Rare and Retro Studios. Now I don't know if they would have Retro Studios if they owned Rare, but imagining if they did.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, that would be sick. They'd have two major Western brands making games.
Yeah.
Even imagining Sea of Thieves on Switch.
I'm just thinking of the
Sea of Thieves wouldn't exist, to be honest, because they would have never. Well, they probably still would have made that terrible Banjo-Kazooie game. It still would have probably happened, but that doesn't mean anything.
Banjo-Kazooie game, nuts and bolts. Yeah. No, I'm just thinking of how much better the remake of Conker's could have been. Not that it was. I mean, not that it was terrible. It's just it.
I don't know that it would have been better. I honestly think it would have been worse. It would have been on worse hardware, so it wouldn't have looked as good. So there wouldn't have been as like that pretty upgrade that makes you want to buy it again anyways. And they probably still would have did what they did with the multiplayer because that's what they wanted to do. This Rare was still at the top of their game then. So like when they ported it to Xbox, the only thing you're upset about is the multiplayer. They probably would have did that anyways.
I just blame Microsoft.
It's not Microsoft. That multiplayer's not Microsoft's fault.
Yeah.
Microsoft didn't look at them and be like, "Yeah, make your game about pissing on people," instead of the ninja of flying bears.
Yeah.
Like they didn't tell them to do that. They just told them to port the game, and then they decided they wanted to experiment with the multiplayer.
Yeah, that was one of the better parts of the game.
To you, a lot of people, the most important part was single player.
Oh no! Don't. That whole game itself was amazing.
That's what I'm saying. Like we dream about it being different, but I don't know that it would have been really any different.
Yeah,
to be honest. So not right away, anyways. I think Rare was what it was, and after, like, even Viva Pinata was really good, but then after that, it all kind of fell apart. Who knows? It still might have fell apart because who knows? Like after the buyout, how much of the talent wanted to leave, anyways. We don't know.
Right.
Like we know Microsoft made them make Kinect games, but it's not like they were making good games before that happened. So it's kind of like, and the best Kinect games were made by Rare. So it's kind of like they had talent, but maybe when the owners left, they just kind of lost their way with some of the franchises. Like what ended up happening with Banjo-Kazooie.
Right.
Like we don't know how much the owners were really the big idea people there. Anyways, neither here nor there. Actually, we do know a bit about how much of big idea people they were. The owners were actually huge, and the founders of the company were huge in some of the quality control and stuff. But, yeah, I guess the problem I have with this fourth topic is that what I want to happen is not going to happen.
Right.
Because that's what this says.
Right.
I guess what I can hope has happened is a 4K dock. It's not going to. I want it to happen. I get hope up, but it's not going to.
Rumor.
It's not even a rumor. It's just speculation.
Right.
Like, you guys let me know what you think about this news. I briefly mentioned it in one of our Prime News segments, but again, it's like one of those things where there's just not a lot here. It's just telling you, don't expect, probably in the next 2 years, don't expect a hardware revision and expect Nintendo to push peripherals. Thing is, we haven't really seen what peripherals mean to Nintendo yet. We just haven't. We've seen the normal stuff. We've seen the battery banks. We've seen the Nyko docks. We've seen...
The craziest thing peripheral is Labo.
And that's not even a peripheral. It's an art project.
It's still peripheral.
It's a do-it-yourself art project. I don't consider that a peripheral. I'm sorry. It's a do-it-yourself art project.
Yeah. But it's still peripheral because you put your... It still uses your Switch to... It's not anything on the Switch itself.
It's a do-it-yourself art project. Yeah. I'm just telling you right now. It's being sold on the basis that it's a do-it-yourself thing. Yeah. It's not being sold as, this is a plastic thing to use with your thing. This is being sold as, like... It's being sold as this do-it-yourself kit.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, But until it's used outside of the Nintendo Labo, I don't think it's a peripheral yet. I understand you're creating fishing poles, and I understand that you're like making what would be a peripheral, but at the same point, it's the building of it that is the fun.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily. I'm not gonna say that using it's not fun, but I'm guaranteeing you that building it's gonna be way more fun than using it.
Mm-hmm.
Like building the piano is gonna be way more educational and way more entertaining than actually playing on it because oh my god, you have 10 keys. Congratulations.
Right.
Like it's not gonna be that great, but
Right.
it's just gonna feel cool that you built this thing that does something.
Mm-hmm.
Same sense you get kind of with Legos sometimes. Like even when you get the robotic Legos,
Yeah.
like it's just cool that you built this giant thing that does something, even if
Right.
in your imagination it's not nearly as cool as you thought it would be. It still was like I built that.
Yeah.
There's a sense of pride
No, yeah.
that you
no,
put
for sure.
that you pulled off that thing. So that's what I don't know. I mean I get what you're saying, but I just think that that's like I don't know that Nintendo's saying that that's a peripheral. I think they're saying that's this idea, a concept.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you talk about peripheral, especially specific to the USB-C port, there's got to be something
right.
crazy.
No.
Like, are we getting another Rob the Robot
Yeah. You know, I'm not
powered
saying, yeah.
by your Nintendo Switch?
That'd be kind of cool.
Imagine if they did get into the robotic something where you
Yeah,
plug your
that's-
Switch into
yeah.
the USB-C thing, like dock it onto this robot thing, and you control it with the Joy-Cons.
Mm-hmm.
Make your own Nintendo Switch rock'em sock'em robots, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
Heck yeah, UFC style.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's going to do it.
Holy crud. That'd be impressive.
All right, I think it's going to do it for this week's episode of the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 54.
Ooh. Next week's going to be 55.
55.
55.
We are only 46 episodes away from 100.
Yeah,
buddy. We'll probably have a celebration at 100.
Maybe.
No, if I remember.
I don't know. Well, we didn't really do a whole lot at 50.
No, I didn't want to do a whole lot of
Yeah,
50
I know.
because it was kind of like a we should have hit 50 a long time ago thing.
Yeah, well.
So
We should have hit 100 a while ago, too. But
No. We should be still below 100, but we should be in the 80s.
yeah.
You know, if we've been doing the weekly thing for a while. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Nintendo Prime Podcast. Remember to subscribe to us on iTunes. We don't talk about this very much.
Ooh.
Our podcast is available on iTunes. And I really want you guys... I don't care if you listen to it on iTunes. You can listen to it on Podbean. You can listen to it on Patreon. You can just listen to it on YouTube. But one thing I do care about is if you do use iTunes and you do listen to the podcast through it, or even just regularly download music or whatever off of there, if you would be so kind, please go give us a rating. Because even if you really enjoy this podcast and you want to help us expand our audience, beyond sharing it with your friends and everything, when you rate us on iTunes, it actually gets your podcast higher and higher up in terms of iTunes suggesting it to other people when they're browsing for podcasts. So if we get like 50 ratings and we end up as a 4.5-star rating, that's going to get us suggested through a lot of other gaming podcasts for people to discover us. So it's just a way to help us discover. You don't have to do it. I can't tell you to even give us a 5-star rating. Be honest.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You want to give us a 0 because you think I suck or Eric sucks? That's fine.
Yeah. You want to give us a -1? Oh, wait.
I mean, it's fine. We have a 1-star rating. It is what
Yeah.
it is. Like, it's someone who just doesn't like my style of doing stuff.
Right. No, for sure.
It's cool. But yeah, just do that. Obviously, subscribe to our channel or Podbean or wherever else you want to listen to it. Check us out on Patreon.com because we have other things that go up besides the podcast. Yeah, follow us on Twitter at NintyPrime or at NateJams for my personal Twitter. If you want to get any messages to Eric, just literally message one of those Twitter accounts. I will get it to him.
Still have to get a Twitter.
Yeah, and by the way, I might as well mention this because it's been a couple weeks now since we didn't have a podcast.
Yes.
We are trying to go to E3 this year, but we need your help. Nintendo Prime is an entity that's solely ran by myself. I have a couple people that help sometimes. I have Eric with the podcast, and he helps out with, if I go to E3, he's going to be helping me out there. And then I also have Martin who edits our podcast, but all other content in this channel is 100% done by me, and I support my family with it, and I do this for a career. I'm one of those struggling YouTubers out there, but I'm not struggling so much that my family's struggling yet. So thank you guys so much for the support you've given me so far. But we really want to go to E3 because we feel like we can do E3 different than other people.
Yeah, and it's not even for us. It's for you guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, even a lot of YouTubers, when they go to E3, a lot of times you see in their videos, they're talking about how much fun they're having, and I'm not saying we won't have fun.
Right.
But what I'm saying is they're not going there with the mindset that I'm here for work. I go there with the mindset, this is my job. I am here to create the best damn content I can for you guys. To get the videos, clips of the games you're not getting from anyone else.
Mhm.
To do things in the games you're not seeing from anyone else.
Mhm.
To get interviews if we possibly can. To hook up with other big influencers out there that you want to hear from and hear opinions from on certain things that you might not hear from normally.
Right.
To tell CND to get on our damn podcast. I'm just saying, like when I go there, and Eric can attest to this, when we went for Zelda for back in 2016, it's business.
Oh yeah.
There's not, I don't want to say there's no pleasure, but
We
man,
had what, one afternoon of pleasure, and that was about
we
it.
went to a baseball
That
game.
was it.
We went to the baseball game the first night.
Yep.
And on the last day before we got on the plane, we went to the beach for like an hour.
Yeah. But that was also
we
after
literally
everything was done.
I was up all night long editing videos, uploading hotel Wi-Fi. You know that could be. I mean, granted, I basically got to the point where you upload and then you go to sleep and you pray to God it's done when you wake up.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of times it wasn't.
You know what I just thought of?
What?
We don't have your Alienware laptop
And
that
we just
cracked
talked
the
about-
that cracked the ultimate speed Wi-Fi password.
Oh,
Remember?
Yeah. No, yeah. We were because we're at the hotel. Like we weren't supposed to have the high speed internet. Like they had the normal Wi-Fi, and then you had the ultimate speed you had to pay for. My laptop just accessed it without
Yeah.
passwords
right.
or anything, which really helped upload videos. It actually made a huge. It made a surprising difference to upload. But whatever, it is what it is. If I got to pay for it this year, I got to pay for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really want to go, but we need your help. I know it sounds like a lot of money. We're trying to raise $3,500, but remember, it's not just to send me; it's to also send Eric. We're both going because this is at least a two-man job to get the kind of coverage we want. Because we always got to make sure that the cameras are being done right. We're gonna have stands this time, and
Right.
it's gonna be a lot more professional than when it was with Zelda Informer. And because we've been before, we kind of get the shtick. And I'm
Right.
over some of the nerves I might have. Like I didn't hand out business cards as much as I should have because
Right.
you're just kind of nervous, you know. Like not because I'm awestruck, but just because I don't know exactly how to approach things,
Right.
or approach people I've never talked to.
Mhm.
Like example, if I see Bill Trennan, you know, it's like, do I freeze up or do I say hi? Like, no, you just say hi. Hey, man, dude, I'm Nate from Nintendo Prime and love your stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Here's, you know, I don't know if you're ever going to contact me, but here's a business card. It'd be cool to get in touch sometime. Maybe we can, maybe even do an interview or something.
Right.
You know, outside of E3 sometime. You know, just
For sure.
or stuff like that. Like it's not just to. Obviously, there's a big benefit to us of going to E3, but the general idea is that the reason we want to go isn't so much for us. It's for you guys
Mm-hmm.
because it is a lot of work. It is little sleep. It is long days, long waits in lines. To get, you know, a few hours of footage and in-person podcasts with special guests and interviews. But all of this gives you something that I guarantee you're not going to get any other channel. If you don't believe me, go back and look at our coverage of E3 2016 when this channel was Zelda Informer.
Mm-hmm.
We gave content that was not available on any other YouTube out there. So the thing is, I can't really prove how different our content is going to be until we do it.
Right.
And we need your help to do it. And if you never want to support us going again, that's fine. And don't get me wrong, it's not like we're not going to put money towards it. It's going to cost more than $3,500.
Right.
But that's just going to get us there and get us the hotel and get us home.
Mm-hmm.
We'll cover the food and all the other stuff and equipment rentals that we're going to need to do and everything.
Oh,
The ISD cards I'm going to have to buy, but hell, that pizza.
the fat tomato pizza every
Fat
night.
tomato pizza. Better still be open.
Oh, I know, right?
Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Nathaniel Ruffle Jantz, and this is
Eric Moore.
and we will catch you next week. Prime things happen.
Oh, God.
You can stop the stream too.
Stop that.
Because we're not going to send him like a